Calling Major Saga. Calling Major Saga. This is O.R.C.A. We are letting you know that you're going to be late. You'd better get hurry on, or else the captain's going to find out that you took his fighter.
Yeah, I'm on my way. And don't tell Captain S I took his fighter. Well, that's great. Now I'm definitely gonna be late. Hi, it's Wednesday again. You thought we were going to make it all the way to 0, but I psyched you out there. Made you go through the whole thing just to cut you out at the last second right there at the end. And what do you know? Nerdigan's left right there, too. She didn't like the trick either. I guess I got to cut it out. I got to go all the way to 0. Who knew? Got to go all the way to 0 on 0-1. How about that? But over here, we've got something interesting coming in. We have Nerdigans coming back. Welcome aboard.
Hi. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm back.
The internet. It's California internet. But the One Piece anime is censored side boob, just so you know. Spencer brought this to us a few days ago, but what do you think?
I don't know what is going on with the One Piece anime. This is a random bit of censorship that's happening here. I know that, and I'll probably do it when I write my anime list for summer. But I don't know what it is with the Japanese broadcasting, but it's getting even more random and more strict. But like here with Stussy though, compared to like Nami and the other ones, it just didn't make sense to censor her outfit in particular.
So what we're referring to is the fact that Stussy usually has an excessive amount of side boob going on. And I mean excessive in the sense that if she were to turn too quickly, her lovely lady lumps, as Fergie put it, would come flying out. And this is not a problem in anime, because if you don't want that to happen, it doesn't happen. Boobs don't have to obey physics when you're drawing them, you know? So it is quite bizarre and random to choose this of all things, considering you've had Nico Robin with the better part of her chest pouring out for over 2 decades now, 3 decades, I think. You've had Nami since the beginning wearing a bikini top that just basically covers her areola, if you will. And then just a host of other female characters. Alveda herself is just sporting a couple of Doritos covering herself. So it's quite bizarre that they chose this. I mean, out of all of the female protagonists, really. And then we can't have the side boob. It's too suggestive.
Yeah, and it's Toei of all companies to do this. This isn't JC stuff, which has been censoring Eden Zero and the mangaka. And again, maybe I'll do a separate article on this. I'll have to ask Spencer about it. The mangaka for 2.5 2.5D Seduction, which is a cosplay series, they straight up put in one of the chapters of the manga, this was a while ago, they said that it's going to be censored, and on the broadcast will be censored, but the DVD Blu-ray will not. And it's basically like a sexier version of My Dress Up Darling, but it's more focused on the cosplay too. It's really, really good.
What a strange decision to step. Whatever.
It's a weird thing. I don't know what they're thinking over there. I really don't. But yeah, it's weird with what's happening. And people are saying Western sensibilities. I don't think it's Western sensibilities on this. I really don't.
Well, we earlier the Japanese let us know that they were going to start self-censoring in order to appeal to the West. This was about a few months ago, I believe. It came out from one of the studio heads. And so it doesn't surprise me that they've made this effort. However, the choice that they made was what surprised me, because as it's pointed out right here, you've got Nico Robin, Nami, and York, who are not really like any better than Stussy. I mean, Stussy has pants at least. There's 2 out of 3 here that don't. Like, look, she's got pants. You know, and so it's a question of like, what was the decision behind this? As you can see, Nico Robin is pouring out. Nami's got basically the same top as Stussy, and I don't know, that's basically a bikini that York is wearing. So what is this? Why is this so heinous? This side boob.
It's weird.
Bizarre.
It's weird.
Absolutely bizarre. But it goes from one thing being bizarre to another thing making perfect sense. Monolith Productions' Wonder Woman game reportedly still in a rough state after 3 years of development. Ooh, I had something stuck to me. After 3 years of development. And the game is troubled.
I mean, look at what happened with Dragon Age, and also Justice League Kill the Suicide Squad. It was for Dragon Age, it was over 10 years in development hell. Yeah. And Suicide Squad was what, like 12?
Yeah, and this is, again, like another problematic situation these people have. I like using their words. It makes them angry when you use their words. So this is a problematic pattern we see with these game devs, is that the reason why this is late, you're never going to believe it, it's because they're having trouble meeting the DEI requirements of the lead writer. That's right. She's made demands where she doesn't want to work with a bunch of white guys, and she doesn't want to write stories about a bunch of white people. It's like, well, I'm sorry, you picked a Greek goddess. And she mainly patrols the USA, particularly places of affluence, and battlefields, which, good old Whitey's going to be there like everybody else. So, sorry, you kind of drew the short straw on that one if that was your intent. But that's what's gone on here. Is we could scroll down to the tweets from this person and get right to the heart of it. By the way, why don't they embrace these designs?
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I remember
But
this being a New 52 design. I remember this being the Dark Lantern design, and this is the Golden Eagle design. But
it's
like,
crazy. It's crazy with what's happening with Warner Brothers because you saw. I don't know if you've seen like the Looney Tunes stuff, and then there's also the new Scooby-Doo stuff that's taking place in Japan, and then of course, oh my god, the Suicide Squad isekai character trailers. I think I don't know if King Shark came out, but the rest of them came out, including like Clayface, and it just looks so good. Everyone's really excited for
yeah.
Suicide Squad Isekai. All the Western DC fans, especially the comic book fans, they're really excited for it.
Well,
Especially
this
when the Clayface trailer came out. They're like, this is comic book Clayface. Everyone was saying Michael Jackson or Musin, but like the comic fans are like, this is comic Clayface. This is what Clayface is.
Well, and this is what I'm pointing out about these designs is that they have a more cartoonish, probably more anime-esque design art style to them. And I feel like this communicates the character a lot better than the stiff comic book style we see above. And again, I'm a little biased because I do prefer anime and manga over comics and cartoons, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but this design feels very stiff. It feels like it wants to tell me something, whereas these designs down here, this design wants to have fun. I
Yeah, it
want to
looks
go
more
on an
fluid.
adventure. Right. And they have more color to them. And granted, this again is very bright and colorful, but take a look at what they're imbuing here. They want to make sure that you don't pay attention to the blues except for her eyes. Meanwhile, down here, everybody's sporting a shade of blue on them, despite the glare behind them. And again, like it feels much more inviting. Then you've got this Sylvester Stallone's sister, apparently, stuffed into this movie. Or his femme swap, face swap, femme swap. Sylvester Stallone. Like I don't know who modeled for this, but I feel bad for her because boy howdy, they did a number on this gal,
It's just
Susan
ridiculous.
Einsberg. But it is like look at this. Like, do you want to play a video game with this staring at you all the time?
Oh,
With this giving you a judging glance every now and then when you're not playing hard enough?
these Sims don't understand it. And the Karens, obviously they're doing it because they're insecure. But I gotta bring up 2.5D seduction for this. There's a couple of chapters where one of the cosplayers, she's cosplaying as a video game character, and the reason why she cosplayed as this very sexy character was because she felt bad about her body because she has a very busty, curvy body, and as soon as she saw this badass like devil character in this video game, a fighting video game, she knew she wanted to cosplay as her, and as soon as she started dressing up as her, she felt confident about herself, and her body complex issues turned into more of like a pride and self-love. And it's like people don't understand that these characters, it's not like a male gaze kind of thing for us. No, like these empowered like female characters, these sexy characters, so for some people it really does make us like voluptuous women. It makes us feel good about ourselves because we see us in these games and what these people do by attacking them and saying that, oh, porn and all that. It's like basically you are belittling us. That's all it is.
Well, the truth of the matter is about that very fact is that men and women approach the power fantasy very differently.
Yeah.
Very plainly put, men prefer a power fantasy in the direct sense. We
Yeah.
want the power fantasy is at the tip of my fist, I can change destiny. Women like the power fantasy of having status.
Yes.
So this is the power stat. They like the Cersei. This is why Cersei captured so many women's attention despite being an incestuous bitch. So because she had power and she exuded that power and she wielded that power. And that's
Yeah.
what attracts women is that status, that untouchable status. And again, that's the power fantasy for a lot of women, not all of them.
Yeah.
And so that comes usually, like you don't picture a queen being flat chested. I
No,
don't know about you, but
have big. There's some have big hips, big
right,
chest.
like Queen Catherine.
Yeah.
Right. You don't usually picture a very
You don't picture like a man
androgynous queen.
face or like a flat chest or a flat
Right.
ass. No. Like
Right.
you picture like hips, chest, like you picture, yeah, you could have muscle too, sure. like on your
Depends on
arm.
what kind of queen you are. Like Xena pulled it off. Lucy
Yeah,
Lawless.
yeah, Lucy Lawless. Women love her.
Yeah. And she was a warrior princess. So there you go.
Yeah,
She's going to be
like,
a warrior
we just wanna
queen one
look
day.
like, for female power fantasy, it's still about looking feminine. We want, like, ultra like, hyper feminine,
Exactly. And
but
then,
still strong and
then you
sexy.
end up with the lead writer here who's out complaining
Oh,
rather
I
than
know
trying
that.
to address any of this stuff that we just talked about. That's kind of fascinating when you peel back the reasons why people prefer certain characters in games. We have this person over here is like, they being the GOP, the far right and racists who want the good old days back of only rich white men being in power,
Gosh.
owning land and likely slaves, and controlling everything. The rest of us can just wither and die as long as they stay rich and powerful. Why isn't this a line of dialogue in the game? What are you doing putting this on Twitter? Make a villain that goes around and does this. I'll give you a hint, all right, Cypher? When you create a villain that has a point, like Thanos, right? People tend to like hold on to that for a little while. That's why Kang came and went, because Kang didn't have a point. And so this again, like, put this, make the character complain about this. The villain wants to equal the scales and have a very twisted idea of reality, and Wonder Woman has to descend upon them because this person has put together a militia or something. You don't have to make her fight Ares all the damn time.
No. You could have her fight a different god. You could have her fight Apollo.
She doesn't even need to fight gods. That's what I mean. She could be out here fighting like these militia people, these separatists, Antifa. She could be out actually exuding what she's good at and crowd control. Like, put her in the middle of one of those riots we had in 2020.
Put her in the Middle East and have her fight the freaking patriarchy and liberate the women of Iran or something. Like,
it's
do
true.
that.
If you want to make a point about women's rights, send her into China and set all of those brothel women free. Those Uyghur sex slaves, have them set them free. No.
They
We
won't
need to waggle our
the
finger
balls
at
to do
Western
it.
men. Yeah.
They don't have the balls to do it.
Right.
Because
Well,
it's
again,
racist to do that. They don't care about them.
except when it comes to Japan, in which case because they're just default white, we just stomp all over them.
It's okay for a black man to like behead a Japanese man.
Certainly. It's historically accurate, apparently.
Oh, and it has hip hop too. Like
right. You know, O.R.C.A had his own mixtape. We'll get into that a little later. But for now, speaking of going woke, right? The Boys showrunner Eric Kripke shrugs off criticism that series is woke, tells unhappy fans to go watch something else, but certainly not going to pull any punches or apologize. And that's just what it is. If you go woke or get lost, is what Eric Kripke, remember him? He's from Supernatural. Winchester Boys. And I wish I could say he's changed, but no. This has been Eric's mentality since the beginning. He's been a jerk. He's been a pompous, full of himself egotist since that show took off. I'm not sure where the rest of him came from, but boy howdy, that guy has been up to his eyeballs in self-gratification. So I'm not surprised by him saying this, but it does surprise me that Amazon let him say this, especially with how Rings of Power did.
Well, they're letting Rings of Power do what they want. So, and I don't know if you saw this, but there's the Lord of the Rings prequel anime that got announced. So many anime Warner Brothers is really going in on anime right now, but
they don't have a choice.
But the only one that is doing it right, though, from what I've seen, and I posted the Scooby-Doo one in the private chat. The only one that is doing it right from what I've seen so far is Suicide Squad Isekai, and that's because they have Tappe and they have Amano working on it. But this one, I saw this, I was like, what? What is this? This is like Scooby-Doo on shrooms.
So the caption here says, Go-Go Mystery Machine is in development at Warner Brothers Animation. This Scooby-Doo series takes Shaggy and Scooby-Doo to Japan, where they unwittingly unleash hundreds of mischievous mythical monsters that are now causing trouble all across the country. And I like it. It's because the truck. It's an old Mitsubishi
like old school Mystery Machine, yeah.
Well, no, it's an old. It's actually they don't make these anymore. I believe it's an old Mitsubishi mini cab.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
K truck. It's a little K truck from like the late 80s, early 90s. And I know that because of the specific headlights. It could be a Subaru. I could be wrong. But I love the truck. So I'm down. I want to see Scooby and Shaggy riding in the back of a pickup truck through the countryside of Japan as all sorts of horrible Oni, things Evangelion would blush at, chasing them down the road. That's going to be great.
But
Why didn't we think of this, nerdigans? Why didn't Americans think of this?
But the concept is good, right? But it's the question is the execution of it.
Well,
I don't know who's gonna do who's animating it. If it was animated
look at what you're looking at.
I'd like it.
Look at the promo image already, okay? So we're not getting the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. We're getting a Japan-centric Oni a group. They're like the Oni, the demons that are there. I'm trying to remember the rest of their names. They have specific names. But there's probably going to be a kitsune. There'll be other famous Japanese demons. The mask demons certainly will probably play a role
the
here.
no mask, you mean?
Yeah, right. And you'll end up with the faceless mother demons and things like that. So I expect this to be like an anime version of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I hope they don't do Vincent Price. It'd be cool if they did a Shogun, right? He's like, I spent my life imprisoning these things, and now you Americans have released them. That'd be great if they just kind of parodied the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo in Japan. They have to go contain all these things again in the back of a truck, nerdigans! In the back of a truck!
I just really think the animation just does. I know we need to see a trailer, but right now it looks a little too clunky.
Tell him it's not at the park. He says it's a mystery truck, Coon.
No.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because the isekai, the truck
right.
Yeah.
That would be great if they hit a demon and it like isekais itself into a good guy. It turns into the Shiba in the middle there.
I really I was talking to some people earlier. I'm like, dude, what if we had a Scooby-Doo isekai and they got sent to another world? Like, I would love. I kind of would like to see a Scooby-Doo isekai.
There'll be an isekai episode. There has to be. Where the demon gets in the truck and it runs him over. It's Scooby-Doo.
Have that Scooby-Doo isekai into like
Subaru Sandbar.
Into have them isekai into like the Scooby-Doo Who Are You or Where Are You universe and have them meet their counterparts. Like, dude, that would be so amazing if we had like an isekai episode where it's like that and you had Truck-kun do it, like knock them into like send them into the Where Are You universe. Like, is it
1980?
But yeah, that would be so sick. If there's so much potential here, but man, it's just this animation right now or this art style is just looking a little too clunky. It needs to look a little bit more fluid for this to work.
Well, one thing we need to point out too is that we do have the introduction of two new characters here too. We have a African fellow. I don't know if he's an African American or not, but he is an African fellow. And then you have a anime girl. I can't describe her as Japanese because I don't know Japanese that have pink hair just out of the gate. So I'll just call her an anime girl. So, but yeah, I think this is smart because this is one of the things we have a problem with all the time is they'll race swap an existing character. And right here, you've got three new characters. You have the Shiba dog in the middle. You have the African fellow who's driving. You have the anime girl trying to catch flies. And of course you have Scooby-Doo and Shaggy that are doing their thing. Now, Shaggy, interestingly enough, as you can see here, has a backpack, which suggests to me there's going to be some kind of like Luigi's Mansion sort of, because if you look at that backpack, those straps
Danny Phantom, Luigi's Mansion kind of tease going down. Yeah.
Well, if you look at, I'll try to get up on it. It looks like a vacuum cleaner. See if
that's like very, very Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. See, it's like a gumball machine on the back of it, right?
Oh, that's the ghost vacuum. That's freaking hilarious,
right? And it's taped up. See, so it's a gotcha machine. They've got to put the demons in gotcha pods.
Oh my god.
They have to put the demons in gotcha pods.
That's why it's called Go-Go
Scooby-Doo.
That's why it's called Go-Go Scooby-Doo is because they're putting them in gotcha? Oh my god, that's genius.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's genius. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
I'm
this
impressed.
art, but man, Scooby's art is just fucking killing me. Shaggy, I don't have a problem with, but Scooby,
It's pretty loose,
no.
yeah.
He looks like nightmare fuel.
The
nightmare fuel.
The demon's wrist balls look like he's got anal beads coming out of his butt. So that's why he's all like, ah!
But dude, this concept is everything. I like this a lot. That is genius.
This is pretty good. This is good.
This is great for a Scooby-Doo show. I just wish the animation was the art was just looking a little bit better.
I am so ready for this truck. Like, I want to buy. I think they said it was a Subaru Sambar, and then Aki said it was Arvita said it was a Subaru Sambar, and Aki said it was a Suzuki Carry. It's one or the other. I definitely want to get one and paint it up like this now. This is great. Like, everybody knows when they see these color combinations, you don't even need to put Mystery Machine on it anywhere.
No, it's Scooby-Doo.
Well, yeah, and you paint the inner wall, like you got your little turn signal lights up, your parking lights up here that are orange, obviously, but you paint the inner wall of the wheel, right? The rim of the wheel orange, and you make sure your license plate has a tint bar over it, tint box over it, and you're good. And you've got the Mystery Machine, dude. I love this. This is sick.
This is genius. Like, I saw like the other stuff that's coming out with Warner Brothers. Like, they're doing like a new regular show, and like they're
the
going
sushi demons. Look, there's a sushi demon.
Dude, whoa.
They're
Those
little
are like
sushi
goblins, like kind of thing going on.
Yeah, they're yokai. They're little sushi yokai. Yeah, and they're up in the trees.
Dude, this is gonna be so stupid, and I'm ready for this.
It's a butterfly sumo wrestler.
Oh my god, this is going to be amazing. Yep. I really just want this animation to be better. That's the only problem. It's just that's the thing that's gonna kill this is the animation.
Oh wait, like, what's in the? They're little. Oh, the little gotcha pods. They're right there in the go-go.
Yeah.
Wow, this is somebody actually thought this through.
Everything is there. It's just that art, man, and depends on how the writing goes too. But God, that art is just, especially Scooby's design right now, is just killing me.
It's rough.
The movement is looking really clunky too. That's the only thing that's just bugging me.
But it is,
other than that, everything is there. I like what I'm seeing. The more I look at it,
as the post says, though, it's in development, which means we're probably looking at like final ideation, right? So this is what the character designs will look like. This is what the main vehicle, the monsters will look like. But when it's finally time for it to air, it will probably have a lot more fluidity and accuracy to it. Yeah. Most likely a few more shadows too. But this is a great find, Nerdigans. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm happy. Like, out of all the ones that we saw, in terms of the stuff that was announced, this is the one that really stuck out. Because there's so many reboots coming out, like compared to like Paramount. I don't know if you saw the stuff coming out for Paramount. Paramount, it's all new IPs. Everything is new.
Yep.
And same with Pixar is doing a new movie as well. I was like, oh, okay. Pixar
Bob Iger said that was coming to an end. They were going to lean into sequels because they can guarantee their sales. I guess.
Well, Pixar is releasing a new movie that's coming out in 2026. They said, but yeah, Paramount. Like, I saw the list for Paramount. Everything that's coming out from Paramount, everything is brand new IPs. And the moment I saw that, I was like, oh my god, thank God we're getting something here. But with Warner Brothers, like in terms of like Cartoon Network, outside of a few, well, obviously this is a Scooby-Doo entry, but like this is like an original idea. Foster's
Isn't Cartoon Network gone?
Well, Cartoon Network,
okay, yeah,
you know what I mean. But I'm trying to see. I know I saw the full list. Someone posted the full list of
I'm gonna answer a couple of questions in the chat while you take a look at that.
Oh yeah, they got the Jellystone stuff like that. But let me find, someone posted the full list. Let me grab it.
Okay. Eccentric Banana, yes, this is the Majors I want to call it the Majors Lounge. We might as well call it the Majors Lounge. But yeah, we just do this an hour early where we go over stuff that just didn't make it for the main show.
So if you go on animation on Max, it has everything there. Like if you click on the hashtag Annecy Festival, it just everything popped up right away.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Yeah, you see.
Yep. All right. So we'll just pop this up while we're talking here. But yeah, this is basically the majors briefing room. This is what we do. This is part of the show that we do that for stuff that didn't make it into the main show because we've got 5 people that want to talk about this stuff. So kind of chops down on the availability of the topics we can stuff into that time frame where everybody can get to bed at a reasonable hour. So we do this, and people come. Our cast comes in as they are ready to come on the show, and we started officially at 9:00. 01 starts at 9:00. But over here, we're just talking about stuff. And speaking of which, it appears that animation on Max. This is the HBO Max animation end. They're going to be doing a Jellystone show that'll feature the Hanna-Barbera cartoons from the
Well, that's been going on. This is the 2-part season finale that's coming. But they're going all out for this 2-part season finale. That's what it's saying here. They're including everything. They're putting like Kids Next Door, Samurai Jack, Blue from Foster's, IR Baboon, Cow and Chicken. Like, dude, they're going all out for this.
So I don't know if you remember this this webcomic series from Snafu Comics. Do you remember Snafu Comics when they did this?
I think so. It's been a long time, but I remember hearing about it.
Powerpuff Girls D is what it was called.
Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
I'm trying to find a good representation of it because it's one of those ancient internet things. So here we go. This was Snafu Comics. This is way back in the day. This was what you just heard there, where they're mashing all these characters together, like Samurai Jack. You're getting the I didn't see the Powerpuff Girls there. You're getting Foster's Home for America. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and Cow and Chicken. I'm sure there'll be more, but this was the first one to do all that. Yeah, they
said there was going to be more. They're just listing off a few of them, but yeah.
This one was the first one to do all that with 2004. Yeah. So there we go. This one was the first one to like put everyone to here. So you see here, you've got Mojo Jojo all the way up at the top, up in the imprint spot. And this is way back when it was Artec Studios before it became Snafu Comics. This is May 2002.
God.
My goodness. And so you've got Dexter, you've got the Powerpuff Girls in anime form. I believe this predates the Powerpuff Girls anime. And then you got Jack.
I think Powerpuff Girls anime came out like in a few years later, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
And you got Samurai Jack down here in the corner. And so this is introducing all these characters. This is way, way back in the beginning where you have all these characters. This is Nurse Joy, who's a teacher now. Miss Merrill, who's a teacher now. And it's very charming. It's very much pulls from the lore. I'm trying to get Dexter. Right there he is. See, you got it really pulls you into like this. I don't know, like a Marimation, a Marime, I guess. It was kind of like the Teen Titans attempt at making the original Teen Titans cartoon, not the weird little chibi thing. It was the attempt to try and get these, I guess, like American products into either Japanese hands or at least try to emulate the Japan wave coming, the Asian invasion that came with like Toonami arriving. And chiefly, again, you'll see a lot of Toonami influence in here. Gundams show up, giant robots show up, Ben 10, like just about every Cartoon Network property makes an appearance in here. I think Johnny Bravo does for a little while. So yeah, this Jellystone thing is not a foreign concept, but it is nice to see. Oh, they put Space Ghost in it. That's adorable.
They're going all out on this finale. It looks like they're probably going to put everybody in here.
Let me get back to that. I see some people in the chat want to know where to check this out. So put the link in the chat to check out the Snafu Comics Powerpuff Girls D, which is started way back in 2002. So it's been going for quite some time. as you know, like an artist will improve over time. So the stuff you start at when you first arrive there looks much better than the early pages. So be a little merciful, if you would, please. But enjoy. It is a fun little story. It takes its turns and twists and has some strange ideas about Pepper Cat. You remember when Pepper Cat showed up? Ooh, that was a little weird.
Oh
But
my god.
that the artist had a thing for Pepper Cat. I just want to be honest. The artist had a thing for Pepper Cat.
Yeah, yeah, you could tell they did.
But hopefully Jellystone doesn't suffer the same fate.
No, Jelly.
And ends
No,
up.
it's not. No. It's not. But this, I kind of want to watch that finale. Like it's been a long time since I watched Jellystone. But this right here for Foster's Fun Time for Imaginary Friends, Craig McCracken is working on this directly. He tweeted about it earlier today as well. He's been tweeting about it since it's been going through production. But this is a preschool series, so this is completely separate from the original.
Yep.
It looks so cute, doesn't it? This is going to be a cute show for it's not going to be one of those crap baby shows. No. This is going to be a cute little show.
I get like an intersection between the Lego movie and Into the Spider-Verse, that first one.
Yeah.
That I get like an intersection there.
Like mixed with the Foster's art style.
Yeah, of course, with their visual. Now, what I appreciate is all the way down here is a little robot done up in the Gendy Dexter's Laboratory style, and I appreciate that because I like
appreciate
those
the
cute
different
little
art
robots.
styles throughout this. I like that there's like a little bit of like the 2D art style in the center, and then you have like it going down. You have like a little bit of the 3D mix. I kind of and like it looks like a little bit of the felt too, like a little bit of like that felt art.
DZ3 asks, "What's with the art style?" And it says, "Well, what they're trying to emphasize here is that children have a different view of the world, and they're all very different in what they expect their imaginary friends to look like. It's like how Mac just imagined a sassy blue blob that just gave him hell all the time." And other people would imagine this very complicated character like Eduardo, the Mexican bull man that liked potatoes very much, but not much else. And that's, again, you'd end up with Wilt, who had lost an arm and was a really cool guy and seemed like he came from a kid that come from a very troubled life, And so that's what Foster's Home is kind of like building up with this here, is that they all have a different art style because they come from different children who saw the world in very different colors, apparently. So I don't mind that. I think that's healthy to embrace your imagination. I don't see a lot of things out there that remind kids like the best entertainment you can get, and it's better than 4K surround sound, is right up here.
I agree. That's the thing that was great about Foster's too, is that it was about embracing creativity.
Oh, good. They're doing a little BMO show. I'm glad. BMO deserves it. That character got held, but I really wish he wasn't holding a dick. I really wish he wasn't holding a penis. That's I'm uncomfortable. That's real. We might have to cut this part out. That is a dick right there. There's no mistaking what that is. Yeah, there's no apology. Yeah, unapologies. Yeah, unapologies. Yeah, BMO.
I like this art style though.
Yeah,
it's cute.
It is. I just the lich. The lich. Look, it's a lich down on the left side. It's the lich. It's a lich snail.
Oh, it's so cute, so cute, so
cute. And he's evil. Look, he's evil.
Oh, he is evil. It's so cute. So cute.
But there you go. So you have like a claymation style, kind of like a Kirby's Epic Yarn looking kind of show.
That's nice to have, especially since the Gummy reboot, if it's true, the rumors are true, it's going to be Cal Arts and not freaking claymation.
You're right, Leslie. That is a stiff worm. You betcha. That is a stiff worm. But yeah, it'll be a cute little thing. I hope they make a video game out of it too. Because
that would be amazing to have a cute little video game
a video game that BMO's inside of. Now that's
that would be so cute.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll be doing Adventure Time side quests. Now, what I have to say about this is definitely to service the adult audience.
Yeah.
I don't know many children that have any idea what Adventure Time even is.
Unless they watched it with their parents. But...
I guess a lot of those people didn't do that. Adventure Time is a little off the wall, if you will. It might be scary to kids. So I think a lot of them like leaned into the Speed Racer movie because there's not much scary in that. Like there's one tunnel that has teeth. That's about it. Meanwhile, Adventure Time has some pretty scary stuff, like Marceline just sucking the red out of everybody. I don't know too many 5-year-olds are going to be down with that. But furthermore, you don't want to show your kids biting people. Gosh. But yeah, this is definitely meant to service the adult audience that is lost after the incredibly abrupt and rotten ending to the series, in my opinion. But I
like
wanted
that.
to see
Really,
Finn
I like
grow
that
up
it's
and get
early
married.
days, though. I like that they're focusing. That's something that I'm really digging right now. Is that they're focusing on like the prequels. They're focusing on the stories like before, what led to it, the start of the shows or whatever. But you got to be careful with that too. We'll talk about it on the mainstream about the Star Wars revolt.
Yes.
Fan revolt that's happening. I couldn't believe I saw that trending on Twitter. I was like, what? But I couldn't believe I saw this. When people are excited for a new regular show project, I was like, whoa, okay, this could be either really good or this could be really, really bad.
See, I don't know how regular show got labeled a children's show.
I don't know either. I don't know
Right?
either.
It feels like an Adult Swim show that just kind of like got lost in programming. They accidentally put it on in the afternoon for kids because
No, it
it's a
feels more like a
story.
teenager show than like an adult. I wouldn't say Adult Swim. I'd say it's more for like preteens, like teenagers.
Maybe, but I mean, like, it's clearly two stoner dudes that are never on camera smoking, but they're clearly two burnout stoner dudes. Like, really, it reminds me of Cheech and Chong. These two guys get into like the craziest adventures because they honestly are just trying to avoid doing the work. They go on, they get doing the job, then they get bored and they go on these insane adventures. And it just reminds me of Cheech and Chong. And that's when I say, like, I have no idea how it became a children's show because it basically teaches children shirk your responsibilities. It's more fun. And I don't know how that got through, but I hope that they sit down and they do like a Mordecai and Rigby road trip movie.
At
Because I
some
think that,
point.
well, that would be good. If this is the project they're working on, like regular show road trip would be great. Like,
That would be sick. And like each episode, they would be like at different stops.
right. Like
Oh,
they're
yeah, that'd
going
be
and
cool.
seeing like the largest yarn ball in the world, and they're like, I don't think it's that big. It doesn't, that can't be the biggest one. You can hear that, right? Like the two of them standing, like, that can't be the biggest one. It's not that big. Like Rigby's like, no way, that's not the biggest one. He's like measuring it with his arms, you know, like,
Yeah, I could totally see that. I could see
Yeah.
that working.
so that they could do that. You know, they see the Grand Canyon and they're like, yeah, that's as big as I thought it was going to be, you know, and they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I could, yeah, especially if you're
they
thinking
meet the
from like a Cheech and
pharaohs.
Chong
They meet the
kind of thing, yeah.
pharaohs that live inside of the Grand Canyon, and they're like just really chill guys that just don't want to socialize because they're gamers or whatever. But they're pharaohs and they're gamers. You know, again, like regular show. I don't know how it became. It's like Aqua Teen Hunger Force got a PG-13 like paint job. It really it blows my mind.
Well, a lot of the shows we grew up with would probably be considered adult shows now. I don't know how half the stuff that we watched.
It's
for kids.
true. I mean, some of those Dexter's Laboratory, you remember, like one of the mom characters bends over and back of her pants says dad's trophy on the back of it.
Mhm.
I mean, I defy you to tell me that Gendy Tartakovsky is not an ass man. All right, I defy
He
you. to
is
tell me
so an
that.
ass man. He is.
And so it was everywhere. It even found its way into Symbiotic Titan when they had the
Yep.
teenage girl twerking in front of the robot man that doesn't have a penis. That was the strangest scene. Like, we all know that he doesn't have a dick. What are you doing, Gendy? What is this?
I can't
But,
believe Creature
Octus.
Commandos is finally coming out, though.
Yeah. Shake it, bake it, booty quake it. Yeah,
Like,
that
oh my
song.
God.
That was so weird, dude.
It was so random.
Yeah. So yeah, Creature Commandos though, like I haven't heard anybody really talk about this other than James Gunn.
Yeah. When was the last time anybody talked about this?
James Gunn. I think that was
James
the
Gunn,
last
like
time.
announcing it.
I think, and then he talked a little bit about how it was going to be part of the relaunch with Superman Legacy. It was going to somehow fit in with that. I think that was the end of it, though. We haven't even heard a casting update on who's in this, even. So
Yeah.
But it clearly has that. What was that? The Secret Fridays. What was the Saturdays? The
Oh,
family that were secret agents that had superpowers.
I think I think it is the Secret Fridays.
Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah.
then Screw on Head. It kind of looks like an intersection between that, like weird, freaky, uncomfortable, but they're a family unit, is what it looks like. They all have their family place in the arrangement. Yeah.
Oh no, it is. I think it is Secret Saturdays. It's driving me nuts. But yeah, I'm trying to think. It looks like something else though, but I can't put my finger on it. If it looks like
Monster High, you
no,
know.
no, it's kind of looking like a little bit like Archer, like a little bit of C Lab 2021 in terms of the art style.
Well, the character designs definitely pull back to the 70s. I'll give you that. It definitely pulls back to that era of C Lab, absolutely. And especially with the bubblehead creature from the Boob Lagoon, from the Babe
Yeah.
Lagoon. That's what we should call her, the creature from the Babe Lagoon. Would. I can't. Monster Girls, dude, every time. I'll fight you.
Oh, this though, the day the Earth blew up. Oh, I've been hearing nothing but good things about it, and they showed some footage of it not too recently. I can't. We'll have to find it, but yeah, the day the world blew up, the day the Earth blew up looks really, really good. We'll have to we'll find it.
Is that like the sequel to The Day the Earth Stood Still?
No, it's the Looney Tunes movie. It's Daffy and Porky Pig. And it's the first 2D fully featured 2D Looney Tunes movie.
Oh, I think I saw this, and the animation really creeped me out because they were like way moving too much. But Lovely Dovey is in development of Warner Brothers Animation. The adults, I'm out. I already hate it. The adult series follows a romantic wedding dove in search of his one true love who gets stuck with a bunch of streetwise pigeons whose only goal is to screw the large bird from a popular kids' TV show.
This sounds like Tumblr.
Yeah.
This sounds like something straight out of Tumblr.
So, like, what happens? Does the hawk eat both of them? Is that the end of it? Where, like, you teach them that love is nothing and then you'll be destroyed if you pursue it? And they're all stoned, by the way, pink eyes. You see that?
Yeah.
That's weird. Stoner birds.
But man, even the art style, this is some Tumblr shit. This is Tumblr.
If it's adult, I expect, and judging by this, that's focusing on the women in this, there's probably a female production team behind it, and this is going to be like, I Wish I Was Married, the cartoon.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be the man pursuing the lead production or lead writer woman or whatever, the creative director woman. This is supposed to be the man that pursues her, right? And these are all the men that stop him from pursuing her, right? I can already see where this is gonna go. It's weak. It's weak.
I mean, considering like what happened in the Helldivers Discord, did you hear about that?
I'm trying to figure out what this is. 16 hours ago at Annecy Festival says, check out today's opening credits for the Annecy Festival created by Gobellions Paris. Gordo Eden, the glorious Eden, I guess is what it is.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Oppressed by the hubbub, a young woman leaves seeking calm in Sinatra's palace gardens. So we can't listen to the music, obviously, but
look how beautiful the animation. Yeah.
So, gosh. So when they're evoking this stuff in particular, this is a lot of 1950s magazine art, like the New York Times, the New Yorker, Cosmopolitan magazine. They did a lot of this loose line work that was then painted with watercolors.
Yeah.
And so it feels very much like I'm reading one of those Reader Digest magazines that wants to tell me how bad the world is.
God, it's so beautiful. And look how nice and fluid it is. It doesn't feel stiff or heavy. It's just so light.
You can tell it's a French film, that's for sure. You can feel the French. It's also rotoscoped, which I approve of, honestly.
I love rotoscope.
what they're doing with modern animation is kind of annoying now. So I'm glad that they're going with rotoscoping this because everything's so much smoother, especially that umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
This is constantly something that annoys me in animation is that people try to like do too much, right?
Yeah.
Ghibli is Ghibli for a reason. Yes, it's visually stunning, but pay attention to what's moving. Only what you're supposed to pay attention to is actually moving, attracting your attention. There's not some ADD-ified hyper moving background to keep like a sensory board of a background, right? This is doing what Ghibli does. What you're supposed to focus on is moving. Everything else is stiff but still alive.
Yeah.
And so the other thing, what you're noticing here is that her colors are changing. I want to go back and watch her jacket. Her colors are changing. None of the background is changing. You notice this?
Yeah. So that way you know the focus, the focal point.
Again, because it's a French film, what they're trying to tell us is that she is going through a state of disorganization. She's unstable. Not that she's crazy, but there's a lot of change happening with her right now. It's subtle. You can't see it. She's not like growing tentacles or puking rainbows.
No.
Little frog.
No.
There was a watercolor anime movie a long time ago. Forget what it was. But yeah, there you go.
That was beautiful.
And it's just a walk.
That's the opening. That's just the opening for the Annecy Festival.
Right.
It's incredible.
And it is just a walk to a park bench, guys.
This is what the new Ghost in the Shell anime that got announced. That's what this is going to be submitted to is the Annecy Festival.
Oh, good. Good. So at least it'll be put up against some quality stuff. It won't be a bunch of DEI weirdos.
No, that's so you know that Ghost in the Shell, they're going to really be putting their heart and soul into it because there's a lot of competition. But look at that. That's the new Looney Tunes movie.
Right.
But like when I saw this, I'm like, why didn't you just do a Duck Dodgers movie? That doesn't make sense not to do a Duck Dodgers movie.
Well, here's the thing: is Duck Dodgers isn't as easy to dunk anymore. Duck Dodgers was on its last leg when we got the cartoon series because like barely anybody our age, Nerdigans, knows who the hell Buck Rogers is to begin with. So when you're doing Duck Rogers, it's like, well, what is this? Is a space rain? The parody has outlived the mother material, if you will. And so the problem therein is trying to communicate what's the point of this parody. People don't understand it anymore. So that's why they're doing this.
Well, like I brought it up on Twitter a few times, in various comment sections. I'm like, well, why not have a Duck Dodgers movie? And people are like, yeah, let's bring back Duck Dodgers, bring back like mix up the lore from like the 2003 or 2002 show with the old school cartoon and like do something with it. You could do
a preview.
Oh, it looks the art and animation looks so good for it though. Oh, look at that. That's just beautiful.
There it is. So, and in my opinion, this isn't the whole thing. This is just a gif of it, a little blurb of it that we probably won't get struck for. Fingers crossed. But as you can see, everything's moving a lot. And I don't know how I feel about that. That's a lot of movement that I don't know.
It's too much for even Looney Tunes, you think?
Well, when you go back and look at the older stuff, you'll notice how the eyes are different and they're expressive, but they aren't like bouncing all the time. And as you notice right here, like, look, their eyeballs are just constantly wiggle, waggle, wiggle, waggle.
Yeah.
You know, have you seen the Looney Tune The Day the Earth Blew Up previews yet, Jacob?
No, I have not. I can safely say that I haven't watched a Looney Tune cartoon in almost 20 years.
There you go. So here's a preview of it right here. We're not going to turn the audio on because we'll probably get hit for that. But this is what it looks like. And as you can see, everything's moving a lot. And whereas if you remember in the Looney Tunes cartoons originally, they didn't have that. That fluidity was more like Fievel Goes West and things like that. The excessive movement of everything.
It's very subtle.
Right. And so Porky Pig's ears are wobbling back and forth. Daffy's head knot feathers are waggling all the time and his eyeballs are bouncing. Everybody's cheeks are wiggle waggling like they're made out of rubber, and it's a little too much for me. It throws me. And then there's Daffy's ass right there.
They might as well just start twerking. I mean, what else are they gonna get viewers?
Well, I don't think this movie's going to go that way. This genuinely feels like an attempt to create a children's family movie about Daffy and Porky just trying to survive, either living together or renovating a home. So, the extent they have to
It's a foreign
go.
concept. Like,
That is a Disney character. No, that is a Disney character. That's Peg. That's Peg from the Goof Troop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
What did they do?
Her character design is in copyright claim, right?
Well, we know that now, I think I've seen like this face like 100 times in Disney shows.
Yeah.
This is a Disney woman. They have a totem pole. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Cultural appropriation. Where's it?
It's all over with. Porky's too light skinned to be standing that close to a totem pole. It's over with. By the way, the totem pole is right in the way of the slide. So you'd spill out and whack right into the totem pole.
Someone said that's Brie Larson in 2040. That's funny.
Well, she got a boob job and then some. Heavens. Yeah, the one thing oh, wow. That's, this may not be a children's movie after all.
Yeah, like, rest in peace, her spine. Like, that's the best way I could put that.
Like, I'm a little worried here. I don't know if I want to hit play. See, look, they make their cheeks wiggle. Far. They make her ears, Porky's ears wiggle, but those boobs, they're made out of cement. And see, look at that. Like, his mouth is all warped around. It's like, please, if you're going to stretch his mouth out, turn it into a trumpet like he did. It's a little excessive. Oh, right. The eyes. See, they have little glares in them like the Disney cartoons used to. Whereas Looney Tunes always had the solid black circle. Unless they were crying. Wow.
Well, how are you guys doing, by the way?
Well, we're just going over all this neat stuff from the day the Earth blew up and the Warner Brothers HBO Max kind of comfortable team-up presentation. Checking it out.
It's about time. After the last few years, they need a hit of any variety.
The new Scooby-Doo actually looks the best from what we saw. There's a good concept there, but we'll see how the art and animation goes.
I don't know. It just feels like they're just pissing all over the legacy of Scooby-Doo because the guys died. That's really just what it comes to.
Well, it's a gotcha, though. It's gotcha. Like,
so let's take it from the top. Jacob wasn't here. Let's take it from the top. This is an in development visual, so it looks to be like final ideation. Like, this is what the characters will look like. This is the vehicle they're going to go around in, but this isn't the final look at them. They're going to go through probably another visual upgrade for presentation. But so far, right, it's going to be set in Japan, and it looks like it's going to be 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, but they're Japanese demon monsters that are kind of cutified. They're kind of like Power Ranger monsterfied. So you got sushi demons in the background, and this guy all the way over to the right, he's a butterfly sumo wrestler with a big long tongue. And I love that it's a little K-truck that they're going around in. I want to see Scooby-Doo and Shaggy collecting gachapon demons and stuffing them into a holy gachapon machine to seal them, riding in the back of a K-truck across the Japanese countryside. And if they could find a way to get Vincent Price's original audio for the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo to come through, but with like a Japanese guy doing a voiceover instead of that, right? Like, it's like doing an impression of like Japanese Vincent Price, right? Oh, it would be great. Oh, I'd be sold 1,000%. Give me the subtitles. I don't care. I don't need it dubbed. I don't want it dubbed.
No dub. Well, maybe for as long as it's the actual voice actors and not celebrity voice actors.
Well, and Jacob, I want to draw your attention too that we have 3 new characters in this Scooby-Doo series. Now, I complain about this all the time about race swapping with characters. I'm really glad that they created 3 new characters for this. That's clearly not Fred. The dog's not Velma, and I'm pretty sure Anime Girl's not Daphne.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they always want to pervert characters that always exist. It's like, if you want to set up your own character in the Scooby-Doo universe, I mean, go out to have some shred of creativity. I mean, I know that's rare these days, if not
You're pulling from
non-existent.
the wrong mic.
Am I?
Yep.
Let me make sure that
you're looking at your mic, and I'm hearing you from the other direction.
Oh, here we go. How about
there
now?
You are. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the right hole.
Mm-hmm. See, Nerdigans, that's how when I'm pulling from the wrong mic, you're supposed to let me know, so that way I don't just go the entire 2 hours with a bad mic like you've done on several occasions. Just throwing someone under the bus.
Yeah. Why you throw me under the bus?
Because you were on the show. No, right. Yeah, no, but I mean, I've been kind of iffy on this whole thing, but I mean, it looks like they're going for a completely fresh direction. Which, like I said, if you're going for something that's completely different, that's not going to bastardize the canon of Scooby-Doo, then I say go for it. I mean, like I said, Mindy Kaling has lowered the bar so far. At this point, it's like, although if we can possibly get any worse, and if we can, it'll probably be her that drags us even further worse than
Not the Japanese.
Yeah.
But I just want you to think about this visual for a minute. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are tasked with sealing Japanese yokai demons into plastic gachapon pods and stuffing it into the holy gachapon box on Shaggy's back here. We blowed up the image earlier. I'll show it to you. This is hilarious. So check it out. It's legit a gachapon machine on his back that they're stuffing these demons into right here. You see that? And it's taped shut, so you can't get them out. You put them in, that's it. It's taped shut, so you can't put a coin in and get the demon back out.
Imagine if the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo had proton packs.
Yeah, right.
Dude, yeah.
Like the Luigi's Mansion would be funny if the gachapons have some kind of suction to them, and that's how they work. So you have the demons running away as they're chasing them with the little gachapods. But again, these are banned in America, by the way. If you don't know, gachapods are banned in America. So this might be a push from Warner Brothers. They might have worked something out with a Japanese distributor to make slightly larger toys available. I can't imagine them making a show about these toys and then not actually providing them. That seems very silly, doesn't it?
It seems silly and illogical, which is exactly why you're going to do it.
Oh, I hope.
Either that or the toys are going to just be for Japan only.
All right. Well, we have reached the 9 o'clock hour, so you want to go ahead and get started with our official run?
The real show. That's right.
The real show.
All right, so we'll get started. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Majors Lounge, and now we're going to get...
One more kiss and I'll get lost. I can't take this anymore. One more step, we have it all. The fever's knocking at your door. One more kiss and I'll get lost. I can't take this anymore. One more step, we have it all. The fever's knocking at your door. Can you feel the fever? You give me a fever again. Your game, but I love to be the one who gets played, yeah. There I go and I just fall again. 'Cause baby I like the way I'm looking good. I like the hell you put me through. I keep on chasing after you. Yeah, you feel the fever, you can be a fever. I like the things you make me do. You know how to make me like a fool. The way you smile, the way you move. Yeah, you feel the fever, you can be a fever again. You can be a fever again.
Ladies and gentlemen, official Star Wars The Acolyte Episode 3 review. It's bad. It's awful.
I don't even have a joke this week. I mean, we got lesbian witches, Blade is dead. I mean, just end it.
The force isn't female. The force is feline.
So they just want to make babies. Why don't they just have husbands? They want to have babies so bad, just have husbands. That's how it works. You're supposed to get married and have babies, not just use the force to make babies. You're doing it wrong. You're making babies with extra steps.
Whoa. Get that heteronormative cisgender bullcrap out of my face, Cider. How do you not like the most progressive turn Star Wars has ever taken? This is officially no longer for the chuds. We are now in the golden age of Star Wars, okay? I don't know where you're getting your information.
Look, guys, I'm not going to condone violence, but if those exploding RC cars from Black Ops 1 actually existed, I think there's several writing rooms at the Disney headquarters that could probably use a gift. Let's just put it that way. I'll be giving them a nice little gift.
Speaking of A, you're correct. B, speaking of Black Ops, I think you said it yesterday, or when you guys were doing the video game recap, which if you guys haven't seen, on Monday, Cider, Jacob, Nerdigans, they all went over the recent Summer Games Fest announcement. It was a good stream, really fun. But your mention of Black Ops reminded me how you were like, this is Black Ops 6. Where the hell did, I remember Black Ops 2. Where did all these other games? I did the same thing. I wrote an article on Sunday about the fact that they are finally, folks, if the video game industry says we're going to do something and then everybody pushes back and they say, oh, okay, no, never mind, we're not going to do it. They want to do it still. They're just going to wait. They're just going to wait because now the new Black Ops is going to be always online. You have to always be online to play the new Black Ops, even if you want to play the single player. So if you're stuck out in the military and you're in the desert in Iraq somewhere, you're SOL. If you are in a rural area that doesn't really have good internet connection, SOL. But yeah, I was writing that up and the title was Black Ops 6. And I had a moment there where I had to count on my fingers. I was like, okay, I played 1, I played 2. Where did 3, 4, and 5 come from? What even were they?
I had the opposite reaction. So I was like, okay, I played 1. I know 2 exists because I remember hearing about it, but I didn't play it. And then it was such a blur period. And all of a sudden we're here at number 6. It's like I legitimately can't remember a single thing from 3 through 5. When did those come out?
I literally could not tell you. And here's what I dug into it because I was so confused. And it turns out the last 3, they didn't have numbered names. The last one was Call of Duty World at War, and then the one before that was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War or something. But I guess those were supposed to be reboots, but now they're bringing them back into the main line, and now they're numbered entries. And I'm just what are we? The idea of franchises, I hate them now. If you tell me your video game or your movie or something is going to have more than 1 entry, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm just tired of all of you people trying to make things way more important and way more grand than they are. And that's especially an issue with them. Yeah.
Just real quick, this is my reaction to hearing that Black Ops 6 exists after skipping, is it 2 through 5? It's there's a 6?
Yeah, exactly. That's what what? I had it. That's the exact same reaction I had. Who knows? For a second there, when that image popped up down below in StreamYard, Jacob, before we added it, I thought that was Josh. I was like, "Oh, look, Josh is here." And then it was unfortunately not. But yes, aside from that quick detour into the absurdity that is Black Ops, everybody, welcome back to the 01 show here at Bounding Into Comics. It's another Wednesday night. We have an insane amount to talk about. Like Jacob said, we have Blade going through a disaster. We have video games going through disasters. We have The Acolyte, which is the disaster.
A
So
disaster.
we
I mean,
have
there's a fan revolt going on
yeah,
Twitter.
there's fan
Trending.
revolts. You've got mainstream media shill outlets outright going, "This sucks ass." Like we are living in a genuine like Star Wars moment, and we'll talk about it. It's not necessarily a good moment, but it's one that's going to go down in history.
It's
But
a
yeah.
moment in history, here, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
It is one of the moments of Star Wars history.
It is a moment
wonder,
of Star
though,
Wars history.
The fact that
What's up?
well, the fact that you have Twitter trending say this is a fan revolt, you got to wonder if this is a turning point.
Well, so
I mean, it feels like
go ahead.
just real quick. It feels like to me, it's like it's gotten so ridiculous now that I don't even like the reaction that I've felt like this one. It's like it's not even just like anger anymore. It's just like I'm just so sick and tired of this. Like I don't even have the energy to like be like like anymore. It's like can you please just stop? Like can you just stop
at
this?
At this point, the Star Wars reaction doesn't even warrant rage. It just warrants like of course they did. Like I'm not even surprised anymore. Like of course they went full bore with the Acolyte. Like it, and obviously we will get into it. It is probably going to be obviously our biggest subject for the night. There's a lot to talk about there. But of course, before we get into that, I will introduce everybody who is here to break this down with me. Obviously, you have me, Editor-in-Chief Spencer McCooley. You guys know me. You don't want to hear from me. As always, I am joined by Jacob of Society Reviews, our good old girl Nerdigans, and of course, Cider. We're all here. We're all breaking it down. How are you guys doing this evening?
Well, I mean,
I'm feeling not gay.
Not gay.
I was having a bad
Illegal.
day, and then I heard that Blade just lost his second director in like the last calendar year. So
yeah, let's talk. Let's kick off the show, everyone, with Blade, with Marvel, because this isn't like I don't even know what to say about this anymore. To take a page out of Jacob's book, like what? Damn it! What's the thing I always say that you say? Like put a fork in it. Like it's cooked. Like it's done. Like this thing is absolutely done. So in case you guys didn't hear the news, it broke about an hour ago. Marvel's Blade reboot has officially lost its second director. Now, currently it is unknown why he left the production, but that makes the second director to leave the project. That it now has nobody attached to it. And while that itself is sort of like it's news, but you wouldn't think it's that big of a deal. It's more indicative of the fact that like this is just the latest stumble this damn movie has had. This is like I broke it down in this article. You can check it out on Bounding into Comics. The film has gone through about 3 release date delays, 6 total rewrites, 2 directors, and that's where we're at. It has not started.
And have they
filming.
even shot like a second footage for this film?
Absolutely, the cameras have not started rolling at all. They haven't even done test footage. Mahershala Ali has apparently not even like suited up in a costume yet, according to rumors. Like this thing is a disaster. This is shaping up to be like the Flash levels of absolutely terrible. For sort of
if we lived in a world with accountability or any kind of just like common sense, several people should have been fired by now. I'm not talking about like the writers and directors. I mean, executives should have been. You guys have to remember, they announced this film or they teased this film in Comic-Con 2019 before COVID. Before COVID.
And we've got nothing to show for it. But to your point, Jacob, this like to sort of drive home how insanely bad this all is. And this again is not to sort of, this is just credit where credit is due, but this was the first time we've ever heard any reports of somebody getting like fired. If you guys remember, according to Jeff Snyder of the N Snyder of the Hot Mic podcast, a couple months ago, Kevin Feige reportedly lost his mind at the executive who was overseeing Blade because that executive was lying to him about like how bad the movie was. Apparently the executive was like, nope, everything's cool. We're on track. Feige came in for like an all hands meeting one day to like just see where everything was. You know, tell me about Thunderbolts. Tell me about Deadpool. And when he looked at all the Blade stuff, he was like, this is hot ass. So like that has to me, that
you know what that
just
sounds
shows
like?
how bad this is. Huh?
That sounds like you had like 2 months to prepare for midterms. Now it's time for the test. You did
Yeah.
no studying whatsoever.
Dude, no it's almost like you forgot what class you were like attending. Like that's how absolutely insane this is. Like for all you guys in the audience, like think about this. This is the same studio that made Eternals, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and nobody came under fire for that. And if somebody got fired for Blade and they're still having problems trying to get it off the ground, this thing is going to be an absolute just dumpster fire. One of the things that really, like, I just laugh about the entire time is that if you guys remember, the original like script for this, or the original story for the Blade reboot, was that rather than Blade, the film was going to be focused on, oh look, it's Blade, but he's like rescuing his daughter, who at the end of the movie is going to become the new Daywalker like hero of the MCU.
Female Blade. Female purple hair lesbian Blade.
Yep. Oh, dude. Just a quick side note on that character, Brielle Brooks or whatever the hell her name is. They tried to they introduced her in a miniseries in 2021, anticipating that the movie would have been out, but that character, she's playing a major role in the current like Marvel event Blood Hunt, because it's all about vampires. And they actually, she started out with just like purple, like a short bob haircut, and now they gave her the side cut. They gave her the side cut, or
that's a very unfortunate series name.
I know, it's very bad.
If you say it too fast, it says something else. Something we can get sent off of YouTube for saying, you know.
Again, this is Disney marketing. They love to accidentally step in it. I mean, that reminds me of the Acolyte poster, right? The one with the bloody lightsaber being dragged, and what everybody instantly like jumped to, going like, "Yeah, that's all I'm seeing." Like, there isn't no. This is just a general like hint for all studios out there. Hire somebody who just like hangs out on the internet all day. You don't got to pay them a lot. They don't got to be that smart, but just be like, hey, is this weird? Does this sound like anything? And they can go like yes or no.
Like this whole story is just a culmination of everything that we've been talking about over the last several years. They go out of their way to hire people who are not fans of the products that they're writing, who know absolutely nothing about the franchises beforehand, because they have an agenda that they want to push, and they want a complete novice who's just happy to be a part of a property that they can put on their Twitter bio to try to get another job from some other hack studio. And like these people don't know anything that they're doing. They have no creative bone in their body whatsoever. And this is why we get stuff like Star Wars, which we talk about, and this is how we get an absolute disaster like Blade. And this is just like I said, someone should be fired. Several people should be fired up to this point, because it's not just Blade. If Blade was like the only one out there, you could say, okay, well, this production is a mess, but hey, at least they got some other good ones. They don't have any other good ones. They like what's the other one? Captain America 4. It's gonna go through 3 months of reshoots because it was terrible. Then they tried to fix it again, and it was still terrible. So now they have to reshoot it again. We all know everything that happened with Captain Marvel 2 behind the scenes. We know Daredevil is an absolute mess. They had to reshoot the entire thing after already shooting half of it. They had to reshoot that entire series. They're doing an Avengers 5 movie with no bad guy, no Avengers team, no name, no title, no release date. It's like all this stuff is falling apart, and that's not even including She-Hulk and Moon Knight and all these other terrible D-list Disney Plus shows. This whole thing is completely falling apart.
Yeah, like who do you guys remember Moon Knight was a series? Like, I remember everybody in our sphere, even like they talked about it and they were like, it's fine. It's not egregious, but it's fine. And now nobody even talks, like nobody remembers that was a series. Like it's absolutely just not
same
there.
with that. Well, same with Echo. No one talks about Echo anymore, and it was supposed to be the best.
No one talked about Echo then. We were the only ones who actually talked about Echo.
I was about to say the Echo Mania was probably the most like attention that series got.
We were literally the only people on the internet who actually watched it and reviewed Echo.
There's also Miss Marvel too. And also, what was the other one? Hawkeye.
And to be honest, Hawkeye is probably the only decent Disney Plus show that they've done to this point. Like, literally, it's the only one.
Well, like, so this is what makes me laugh so hard. And I think I've talked about this before, but you are about to see Disney absolutely, for lack of a better term, they are about to eat shit in the hardest way possible, even more so than before. So follow me here, audience. That Marvel is like, we've had Bob Iger come out, we've had Kevin Feige come out, and they've all gone, yeah, we've lost the plot. Things have gotten bad at Marvel. Nobody likes it. We've gotten way too big. We got to condense. We got to better curate all this stuff. So that's the expectation that's out there now. So everybody is waiting. Like, all right, you guys have acknowledged it's a problem. Now you're finally going to make like an effort to correct it. Show me what you got. We will now give you, like, I imagine a lot more people, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are going, okay, Disney, I will give you a chance. You've admitted you were wrong. Show me if you have any semblance of like getting back to phase 2 or phase 1 or anything.
No.
Of course they're not going to, but some people are like, admittedly, are probably thinking that. The problem is the next movie that comes out is Deadpool versus Wolverine. And that movie is going to, whether its quality sort of aside, that movie is going to make money. It's going to be a success. People are going to like it, whether that's consumer brain or it has some genuine quality to it. It's going to do well, or whatever well means in the current movie ecosystem, right? So yeah, exactly, both. And so after that, Marvel is going to go, oh, they love us. Look, we're back. We did it. The MCU.
We're so back, everyone.
Deadpool.
Right. That's exactly what they're going to do. But they'll fail to realize, like, nobody is stepping up to the plate for Deadpool because it's MCU. Everybody's coming in because it's Deadpool. It's Ryan Reynolds. It's Hugh Jackman. Like, that's what they're being brought in for. So after Deadpool comes out and they have their huge Ackman. Have you guys seen the picture that's going around Twitter today of him promoting the X2 Wolverine's Revenge game? It's I'll see if I can pull it up on the side, but it's really funny because he's like at like TRL or something, and he's like holding up the game and talking about it, but he's got long flowing locks because he was promoting Van Helsing at the time. So it's just it's very, very odd to see Hugh Jackman with very, very long hair. But back to the point. So Deadpool comes out, they're going to take their victory lap, they're going to go, we're so back, we are so back, and then that, because they think they're back, they're going to not. Their effort into trying to make Blade or Captain America any semblance of good is going to go out the window. If you think they're bad now, they're about to get way worse. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, Jacob, because I know you love to bring this up, but like Captain America Brave New World has also gone through like 5 rewrites, and in doing that, they have eliminated like an entire plot line. Roman Reigns was supposed to be in there with the Serpent Society. Or yeah, Seth Rollins. Sorry, same person. Whatever.
It's the Shield. They're all the same.
They're all the same. But yeah. So yeah, it's dumb. I totally lost my train of thought.
No, it's just like the whole thing's a mess.
Cobra Man's gone.
Yeah, Cobra Man's gone.
That's where you were.
That thing is going to be a disaster. If that's where it's at now.
Not to mention the fundamental problem is. The fundamental problem is that they're still trying to sell everyone on Black Captain America. Like, they haven't even addressed the biggest elephant in the room with the entire production, and they can't even get off the ground. This is like the 3rd rewrite, the 3rd reshoots. This film was already, I think this film was supposed to come out almost like a year ago. This film was supposed to be
out long ago, like
2022,
I would even say, like not even 23. Like, this movie it's a DOA. I don't know if you guys saw, I think you saw it, Jacob, because I think you talked about it on a somebody's podcast you were on, but if you guys saw the new behind the scenes photos of Brave New World, they're bringing back Sam's white costume, like that awful one from the comic books and the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And that to me shows like you guys are just scrambling at this point, because there's a very big complaint point, right? That like I've said it before, I feel like we've all heard it in the sphere, which is Marvel has this really dumb habit of, oh, here's your super suit. Like at the end of the movie, you get your suit and then it's gone. You get to see it for like a fight, and then the next movie you have a new costume, it's all ready to go, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So a lot of people went, isn't this so dumb? They went with this big dramatic reveal of Sam as Captain America. Captain Falcon, and they immediately just toss the suit. That's so dumb. Now they're just going, oh, so you like the suit? That's what you want back? And it's like, no, we don't like the suit. We were just commenting that you have this really bad habit of doing this. This is not the way to correct it. Like, it's everything over there is just absolutely cooked. I cannot.
It's like how much money do they have to burn before it's just like, you know what, it's not even worth it like anymore? See, you have to wonder at this point, they've probably sunk at least anywhere between 275 to 300 million in this Captain America thing with all the reshoots. Keep in mind, they weren't cutting the budget before this, so the typical MCU film was about 200, 250 production standard, but with the number of reshoots, this has to be pushing 300 million. So now you're talking about a film that probably has to make close to $1 billion. This film's not nowhere near $1 billion. So you have to ask yourself, is it even worth it to spend another $300 million to market this film, knowing that you're probably going to end up losing $400 million when it's all said and done, or just eat your losses and use it as a tax write-off at this point?
And like, see, I and you and like most people with a brain cell, at least one brain cell, are of that latter opinion. Like, shelve it, get your money back, focus your efforts on whatever is going to come next. Go do Thunderbolts. What's up?
The saddest thing about this is that it's so easy to fix. It is so easy to fix. One single scene can fix this whole problem. You don't even have to go into the DEI Candyland to get this accomplished, okay? They set up this perfectly. All you need is that you just need old Cap. He's in an old style military like bunker he built in the 50s. Right, because he went back in time, you know? So he has a bunker that he, like, you know, oh, the Russians are going to bomb us because of Cuba, you know? So he built one of those. He's in there with Sam. They're drinking, and he's talking to Sam, and he says to him, I got my wish, Sam. What's your wish? And Sam's looking into his reflection in a gin, and he sees the reflection of this Captain America right here. And he says, I want to mean something. Done. You don't need to explain anything else. The rest of the movie is Sam trying to justify the decision to take on that shield. That's it. You have everybody's questions answered then. That's one scene. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do 6 freaking rewrites. It's a 4-minute scene and most of it's music.
Hey, Cider, it's a 4-minute scene and you think it, and I hear you on putting it at the beginning of a movie. Counter offer for you. Let's take that 4-minute scene. How would you like to make a 6-episode premiere series that's going to kick off our Disney Plus television offerings?
Do I
have to wear blackface to get the job? I'll do it, dude. Come on, just fix it.
We don't want you to fix it. We want more stories where
Jacob turns his camera on to shake his head at me and turns his camera back off.
we have the black vote. That's the black vote. No, again, like I was just gonna bring up, like, I love that scene in Captain America and or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, whatever the hell it's called, where they deny Sam, who is a SHIELD agent, a government vet, like a veteran, a SHIELD agent, an Avenger who just stopped Thanos, and they deny him a bank loan because he's black. And it's like, this doesn't even make sense. Go talk to Tony.
Hey, we won't give loans to broke ass niggas around here, so you have to go. You better go take your ass to Chase.
I wish it would have been like that. That would have been way better than the like, oh, I'm white. We don't like you because you're black.
The face you make when you survived an attack by a 50-foot tall weirdo named Paul Rudd, and they won't even give you a bank loan for a house.
Nope.
It's so,
it's
so insane.
That's the problem.
Not even a VA loan. They wouldn't even give him a VA loan.
Right, you can't. Screw you, veteran.
Dude, imagine, and like if you go to Sam, they're like, okay, we might not be able to like give you a loan outright on credit, but what do you have for collateral? And it's like, hey, do you see my giant experimental wingsuit that literally nobody has? Like, unlimited money there. Just give me
no,
bad.
Spencer. He just opens up his phone. He opens up his contacts. He clicks on Nick Fury and he says, "Do you want me to call him?"
Right. That's and or even before that. Or go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, or just dial up Pepper Potts to be like, yeah, she literally owns half this city.
Yeah. Can you buy this bank and give me this loan, white woman?
or I just go, oh, hey, hold on a second. Oh, do you want to see a picture of me with my best friend? Oh yeah, that's Captain America that I'm clearly standing
Before
next
he
to.
went back in time for some
Yeah,
kick-ass titties. Like, I get why he went back in time.
Before he let it all go for the nookie, I was best friends with Captain
Right,
America in
right.
his
He
good state of
sold
mind.
out, but for good reasons.
Yeah,
You get me?
Yeah. But
Big old
think,
reasons.
I think yeah,
Big
big
ol'
old reasons.
British reasons, yeah.
Oh
But
my,
I gotta stop right there because
Captain reasons.
before we move on, because Eccentric Banana gets this like hole in one. He says Blacked in America versus credit score.
That was pretty. That would have been a better story than what we actually got in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. To be honest, like
But
again,
again, the
do
whole
better,
story
Senator.
of Falcon and the Winter Soldier should have been Bucky, like reminding Sam that it's his job to be Captain America now, not Sam battling to get people to accept him. It should be the other way around. Because Sam was shown to us in the beginning as a character not knowing what to do with himself. This is the whole reason why Cap
100%.
means something to him, is because he motivated him to live again. And so living up to that should matter to Sam and should be very difficult for him. Bucky's role should be as the sidekick to grab him by the shoulder and say, no, man, that's your shield now. And like punch him, do the bro punch in the chest. Like, that's you now, dude. This star is you.
Bucky
But
essentially
no.
had the opportunity to be like the. You know what I'm talking about, Cider, and honestly, all three of you will know, where it's like in anime, the new protagonist goes out and he like finds the old master, whoever was great at it before, and the old master like doesn't want to be the hero now, but he's like, I know you, like I can teach you, I believe in you, let me show you what that means. Like that's what it meant, like that's what it seemed like Bucky should have done. Like I've been with Cap, I know what it means to sort of be on the outside of Captain America, what you need to represent. Let me help guide you. Instead, it was do better, Senator, the series, like 100%.
So
what were you saying, Nerdigans?
Yeah, I was going to agree with you on that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the other thing is, too, is something that I've been seeing a lot of, and this line just totally sticks with me, is that you would want to, like, your master would want you to surpass them, not try and save them kind of thing. Because if you try and save them or try to just live up to what they want you to do instead of surpass them, you're kind of belittling them. Like having that kind of message there, I think would have been
That's
more
a really good point. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point.
That's a fun scene, right? So Sam's like looking at the reflection of himself in the shield, and he says, "My master, Captain America, would want me to live up to the mantle he left behind for me."
Well,
my master.
No, I think he would say the better way to say it is,
everybody.
No, I get what you're saying, Nerdigans.
No, we
I know,
do.
I know you're making fun of me, but I think
no, not
the
you.
best way
Not you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the better way to do it would be like, I want to be like, kind of like be my own captain. Like I want to surpass what Captain America left behind and be my own.
I don't want to be Black Captain America.
Yeah,
I want to be
me.
Captain America.
I want to be my Captain America.
Right.
100%. So before we move on, Before we move on, I just wanted to address one quick thing here, like one last stamp on it. So Toru Oikawa brings up, they have a message, a merchandise sales quota, and their projects they consider when writing the script. So I don't think the fans and corporations will ever be on the same page. So here's sort of the big overarching problem that's happening right now in not just Marvel and like Disney, but sort of all media, but definitely Disney especially. It's that the corporations want to be on the same page as fans, but they don't want to be on the same page as fans in the fans book. They want the fans to be on their same page. So what they'll keep doing is you will see a lot, like in recent years, a lot of like Marvel movies, a lot of television, they go through these changes mid-development because you read interviews later with producers or writers and they go, oh, we were hearing a bunch of this online. We were hearing that. We thought that fans might want this. And it's like, they are listening to you, but they go, they want that. Let's give them that. But we're going to subvert the hell out of it. We're going to give you want Sam to have this journey of like solo discovery. Well, we're going to turn it into a very on the nose BLM discussion. Like, oh, you guys finally wanted your Black Widow movie. Well, we're going to make it all about, misogyny, all blah, 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 blah. Like that's what they're doing now. And it's just the more these companies like try to pander to the fans but don't understand why or how they're pandering, that's how we end up with all of this. That's sort of like the difference between fan service and pandering, where if you're watching a show and you see a cameo from one of, like, for example, I was watching with a friend the other night the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie from like 2003. I know, it was really random. Yeah, it's a great movie. At one point in the movie, Arthur, like when he's trying to like talk to those bureaucratic aliens about not like getting Earth destroyed, he's in a big yes, thank you. When he's talking to the Vogons, he's in this like big waiting room area trying to get through the line or whatever, and he bumps into a robot. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And when the robot turns around, it was Marvin, the original Marvin from the Hitchhiker's Guide BBC miniseries from like the 60s. That's fan service, right? Somebody went, "Oh, cool, look at that." Like there's a reason for that being there. Right. There's a reason for it being there. It's clearly there because it's inspired and it makes sense. That's fan service. Pandering goes, "Oh, we want fans of the old Hitchhiker's Guide to like our thing now. Okay, put him in there. And now that he's here, by the way, we're going to reveal he's bi or he's like a pansexual robot, whatever the hell you want to do." Like that's what they do every time. That's the difference between fan service and pandering.
They would think
fan
that's
service,
clever.
They know what you want.
Because Marvin's depressed. They would think that's clever, that what made him happy was dick.
Oh my gosh, you're right. "Oh, I'm so sad because I can't love who I love," or something like that. Like that, I don't want that. Why now this is awful. Now I have a potential fake Hitchhiker's Guide CW reboot in my head.
Potential.
People need to be fired.
Remember that.
I'm not.
More people need to be fired. I mean, at least we're not getting that Power Rangers CW reboot. That's really all I can really say about the CW at this point. And the CW's like, I don't even know what the CW is doing at this point. So, like, I know this is a really random like tangent, but Superman and Lois is ending and Walker is ending. Like they canceled Walker, which was like their biggest hit. And I don't think it was a great show, but people were clearly watching it. And what they announced in its like place were like, when I'm gonna be completely
honest with you, the last show that I watched on the CW was the 100. I think that was at least 10 years ago now. So
and like that totally, and like that's fair. But my point, like more now, is like not that anything has been particularly quality from them, and I'm going like, where's the quality? It's more like you're a business. What are you doing? Like what are you offering us? You just canceled the only things anybody was watching, and now you've got like, if I say the words a CW show to you guys, like to the panel, to the chat, you all have this image that pops up in your head.
Gay.
Lots of social politics, lots of virtue signaling, all of these identity politics, and a very,
it's like
very,
sandwich
very,
in
very,
there, like gay on the top and gay on the bottom.
I was gonna say like that's the bread, yeah, and that is basically what the new lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically what the new lineup of that's basically what the new lineup of CW shows is. It's just the CW like distilled, and I'm just like, all right, nobody wants that, but you're going all in. All right, have fun, guys. Like, have fun. I'm just gonna sit over here and not lose everything.
Well, you're talking about that reboot there, that it's all over with. I guess we should probably pirouette into that mess now.
Yeah, let's talk about that
pretty big news,
quick.
at least for most of the panel here, that Hasbro is done with Netflix. BT Dubs. Hasbro and Power Rangers have taken their shit, and they have gone and left Netflix with their pile of crap too. And here we have is from Spencer himself. Is Hasbro reportedly never wanted Power Rangers brands purchased done without consulting R&D. This comes from people that worked inside of Hasbro that got fired in that big purge.
Yep.
And they, again, of course, are under NDAs, but those NDAs don't apparently cover this part. And what basically has come out, and because I read the information on this, so Spencer, do you want to introduce this? Because you wrote the article.
No, you take it. You've got the lead. You know the Power Rangers.
What basically came out was that Hasbro purchased this along with a bunch of other properties. And it was just like, it wasn't a mass buy, but it was sort of, they were at a yard sale and they just bought everything and threw it all in the trunk. There was no consulting with research and development. Now, what this means is that when a corporation goes and buys these large properties like Power Rangers or other things like it, they tend to do some market research on what the viability of how quickly they can turn a profit over on it, right? Now, Hasbro's a toy maker, so you know what their initial incentive was with buying the Power Rangers brand is they wanted to stamp out all the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger toys they could think of. However, what came with that was the responsibility of an ever-rotating cast, new locations, new suits, new music, all sorts of different things in order to continue propelling the sales of those toys. Also came with that was licensing out different aspects of the property like video games, like comic books, like novels, these sorts of things. And of course, this did not go very well. As you know, with Battle for the Grid, it has been an absolute nightmare trying to keep a consistent plot going. So here we are with this now, is that Hasbro quite literally bought this because they were like, ooh, shiny. And then the research and development team has played catch up until the wheels got blown off this whole thing with Cosmic Fury. Now there's no Power Rangers show. Okay, let me just put this into perspective.
Yeah.
Even Disney didn't screw this up. They went and edited MMPR, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, look all goofy, but they didn't miss the release of Power Rangers. And what I'm telling you is that since 1993, there has not been a single year that Power Rangers didn't air. Until now, 2024, 31 years after it landed here, it's not airing. And what bothers me about this is that it is a money printing franchise.
No, it absolutely is. So, to your point, there was Toru again brought. He's trying to analyze what's going on, and he brought up this point: Super Sentai not big in America like it used to be. And I think, Cider, you're probably on the same page as me here, where I would actually push back against that and say we are in a period of like tokusatsu, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, all of that stuff. Like it is a renaissance over here in the West. We're finally getting, big releases like Shin Kamen Rider Black. We're finally getting things released on physical media. We had a full-on Kamen Rider 01 Western-made comic book series that introduced a full new Kamen Rider into official canon. So to my point, it's that like, or to Cider's point and to my point, this thing was such a moneymaker, and Hasbro acquired it at the time when it was about to like set itself up to make even more insane amounts of money, and they completely fumbled it. Right now, so Hasbro bought Power Rangers in 2019. Apparently, according to these insider reports, the decision to buy both Power Rangers and it was a deal to buy Saban Entertainment's properties. So that is a bunch of things like My Little Monster, Power Rangers, My Little Treehouse, blah, 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 blah. They also bought an entertainment production company called Entertainment One out of Canada. Now their plan
They made Peppa Pig.
They made Peppa Pig. So they were like, ooh, we're all acquiring these things. The problem was, like Cider said, that these decisions to buy these things were made solely by the CEO of the company. He didn't go talk to his board. He didn't talk to R&D. He just said, I could get Power Rangers. I could get Peppa Pig. Let's do that. So he went out, he got them. He died 2 years later. And since then, Hasbro has had no idea what they want to do with either entity. Entertainment One has been completely gutted from the ground up to the point where it used to be like an entertainment conglomerate, or not a conglomerate. It wasn't that big, but it was like a production studio. It could do music. It could do movies. It did film. It helped casting and all that stuff. And all of the businesses, I think, except for television production, have been sold off by Hasbro to Lionsgate. And the Power Rangers brand has just been on a complete downward spiral for the last 5 years. I mean, like Cider, he touched upon the show, where if you guys have watched the show ever since the Beast Morphers ended, like that was probably the last okay series. And then everything else has just been really, really very, very Western. Like they've abandoned using Sentai suits. They're using original suits now. It's really bad. Like it's over. Yeah, correct. It's over. Like the TV show was doing really bad. In the toy department, they were screwing up toy production. So if you guys don't know, there was this line called the Lightning Collection. It was like their Western collectors line where for about like here, actually got one right here. So for like these guys retailed for like 15, 20 bucks each, and they did a bunch of different Rangers all through the line. They canceled it. Like they killed it like a year and a half ago for no reason, in the middle of releasing teams, in the middle of releasing like sets. So now if you have them all, you can't get the entire Zeo team, you can't get the Turbo team, you can't get all of the ninjas. Like it's bizarre. Never. And then, you know, then we saw what happened with what was it? The like the video games, right? Battle for the Grid was a great single player fighting game with a lot of passion clearly put into it. Then Hasbro got the license, and now what have we seen since then? We've seen nothing. No, we've seen that awful, absolutely garbage ass Rita's Rewind. Cider, is this oh, this is the Simon Bennett one. Because in the article I wrote with the Green Ranger on it, there's a screenshot of the art direction for that new Rita's Rewind game, and it looks so bad. Like this is, oh boy, aren't you guys excited to play a series that is known for like iconic imagery, for crazy designs, colorful superheroes? This is what they give you in their first big official video game release. And like, that's embarrassing. And then of course there's that the probably the biggest specter hanging over everything is that they do, ever since Hasbro got the license, they have not been able to let go of Mighty Morphin. Every single thing they do is Mighty Morphin. We want to make new toys, a Mighty Morphin line.
Hey guys, let's bring Rita back.
Right, let's bring Rita back. Oh, we're gonna do a new Netflix special. Let's bring back the Black and Blue Mighty Morphin Rangers. Like every single thing, you know, Rita's Rewind. Oh, we're doing a new video game. Let's go back to the Mighty Rangers. And it's like, here's the problem with that is that while older adult collectors know Mighty Morphin, they're kind of over it. We've had years of Mighty Morphin where we've had the toys, we've had great toy offerings, we've had video game offerings where we know other things exist, right? And so adult collectors are tired of it. Kids don't care. They don't know the Mighty Morphin team, right? They know Samurai, they know Beast Morphers, they know Dino Fury. They have no idea who Tommy is.
Do they even really know Dino Fury? Because that's been, what, 20 years now too,
yeah,
right?
that one might have been a stretch, but still. Like, so if you go, oh, new Power Rangers toy line, go collect your favorite, like here's a dress-up mask to be your favorite Mighty Ranger. Everybody's gonna go, I don't like that. Where's the new one? Like, that's the mask I want. And so the product just stagnated. And it's just all around insane how badly this brand has been torpedoed in the last 5 years. The only thing that has been quality from them has probably been the Boom comic book series. And guess what? That's ending. That is ending its entire run this year with no reboot plan. So I could not tell you what Hasbro is even doing with the Power Rangers right now. The toy production is licensed out to freaking Playmates. The comic book is dead. The video game is just all the video game. And then, the TV show isn't being made, period, right now. This, again, alongside, if in the future the history books have like entire chapters dedicated to how badly Disney torpedoed like Star Wars and Marvel, this will be like a related topic. Like, this is such an insane mishandling of a brand that was universally, this is, okay, I know this is not a, I know you guys all know I'm not the biggest fan of Elon, but I'm not swinging at Elon in particular here, but it sort of reminds me of the Twitter X purchase, right? When he got Twitter was a platform that was so, like, that brand was so strong, it had its own word. If you said, oh, I wrote a tweet or I'm tweeting, people would know what the hell you're doing. Like, it entered our lexicon. When he bought the site, he went, I'm gonna change everything to X. And everybody went, what the hell are you doing? Like, we all knew, everybody had it. This was like an established thing. And now you just came in and you sort of went, forget that, I'm going to throw it all out and try and do my own thing. That's what they did with Power Rangers. Power Rangers before Hasbro was, you know, it was multi-generational, kids of all genders loved it. It was a big property. And then they came in and they said, no, we're going to restrict it. We're going to cram it all down and you're going to enjoy the slop that we give you. So yeah, it's all down there.
You know, what's kind of ironic is that Disney treated Power Rangers better than Hasbro
Yes,
did.
much better.
Yeah,
Isn't
which is
it ironic as hell?
which is
painful.
like, I know, Cider, you had the same sentiment as me, because when I was watching Disney Power Rangers, I was like, this is bad. What happened? And now I'm
But
like,
for
I
me-
kind of want them back.
For me, it dove off on Overdrive and
Yeah.
Jungle Fury. Everything else from them was solid. I'm one of the few people that likes Mystic Force's theme song. It's the only one that's a rap song. I'm the only one that
It's odd,
appreciates it.
yeah.
I really do like it. But also, Disney, peculiarly enough, right, by comparison to today, all of their series has a positive dad message.
They do.
Every series that Disney put out has a positive dad message in it. All of the
Even
Red
when the-
Rangers
even when
either
the dad
have a
was a
good
villain.
relationship or either
Yeah.
a envy, like a aspirational relationship with their dad.
Yeah, even when the dad was a villain in I think it was Time Force, it was
Mystic
Like,
Force.
or
Mystic.
well, Mystic, and there was also
Oh yeah, and
another-
Time Force, Mr.
yeah, and
Collins.
Time
yes.
Force, yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Like even
yeah,
when the
duh.
dad was a villain, like you felt for him, you felt bad for him because you learned Rancic, you felt for him.
Yeah, Rancic
And-
was a dad. That's right. He had Nadira, and he was
Yeah.
fighting for his people. He wasn't, see, again, like a sympathetic villain, like we were talking about in the Major's briefing room. A sympathetic villain. Rancic, again, he's not a Disney property. This was Saban. But Rancic was a villain for the Power Rangers series who was a mutant in the future who was deformed. And this is a future where, again, Saban was like, let's just do eugenics. And that's what it is in the future, is that all the babies are born perfect, and those that aren't are thrust out of society. They're at least not aborted, but they're thrust out of society. And so Rancic was one of the mutants that developed powers. And he was so pissed off that the world worked this way that he put an army together and had to escape to the past in order to survive. And he takes his daughter, who's, yeah, I guess she mutated to have really banging hips and pink hair. That was pretty much her only deformity, I guess. And so the whole plight he has is he's simply trying to find a place for his people that Time Force is in charge of freezing and containing because they're freaky and they shoot missiles out of their faces. And that's the whole premise of the show. And again, like, this isn't hard. Why are they struggling with this? And again, like,
And
we
you
have
got
a great,
SPD too. I mean, look at what happened with SPD in terms of like father son.
right, you know,
Yeah.
Sky with his father,
Yeah.
the Red Ranger we see in the very beginning, wearing the Time Force uniform, by the way. But we have Toru Okinawa here. Okinawa says here, it's because the largest spending demographic in Power Rangers is 30 to 45, and they either have it or they don't have the money for it, and kids don't really like it. I totally agree. One thing I want to point out with this, right? Because the world itself doesn't have a lot of children. There are a few countries that do, a few regions that do, but the world itself is going through a large depopulation cycle right now. And because there's not more adults than children, but there's a definite tilt in that direction, you're going to see media behave this way. Well, this is what Hasbro saw in their demographics. They saw this number right here and they said, well, these are the people we need to market to. And they obviously only care about 1993. And so they focused on MMPR for 10 years, which sank the brand because children keep it alive. But there aren't that many kids around right now, and most of them are distracted by YouTube and video games, which Hasbro doesn't have a good footing in. And this is what they tried to do, is they tried to do what Disney did, is they tried to take a children's story. You know, you think it deeply as you like about Star Wars, but ultimately it's a children's story. You know, it's meant for families. It's a children's story, a fable, if you will. And they've advanced it up into this thing where we have this very dramatic kind of entrance where two women make a baby, very deep adult concepts about life and death and what it is to be alive, like Anakin just reverting back and not going to any living relative of his, like Luke or any Leia, none of them, just going and hanging out with Ahsoka instead, because it serves the plot of them creating this CW effect that Spencer was talking about earlier. And this is really what leads into what Leslie said a few minutes ago. And Leslie says, are you noticing a pattern? All boy brands have been destroyed in the past decade.
Girl brands are getting pretty much destroyed too. And I'm going to say this in regards to, I'm going to bring up Monster High in the conversation because posted about it on Twitter a few times, is if you look at what happened between Generation 1, which was like in 2009, 2010, and you saw what Mattel did in like with Generation 2, which was like in the mid 2000s. Generation 1 and why people loved it was very gothic and very different compared to the rest of girls' toys. And then when Generation 2 came, it was very cheap, very generic. And then with the current generation, they went very diverse and very bright colored, which is like the complete opposite of what Monster High was. And the fan base is furious. They good chunk of them are furious.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, and they and what Mattel has done is they've released Generation 1 dolls, but in collector form, and they're charging a lot more for it. And they're also doing like
Always.
yeah. And they're also doing
just
collector dolls. They're doing like they're called collector dolls, and they take like horror monsters like Greta Gremlin and whatnot, and making them collector dolls. But yeah, it's crazy.
So
yeah.
this is the cruelest irony, cruelest irony right now. All right, the country that's most well known, that doesn't have the highest negative birth rate, but it's getting close to that, right? It fights it. But the one that's most synonymous with not having enough kids is creating children's media that the world is consuming. It just blows my mind. Like, how did this happen? Where like people who don't have enough kids are entertaining the world's children? How?
Well, France is kind of getting up there
Globalization.
Yeah, France is getting there. You're right, but they're obsessed with anime. They're taking all the right cues from anime.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
they
that's
are. Their industry is developing in the right way.
Well,
I like
because-
the Ladybug thing. I like the Ladybug show. It's a little creepy at times, but
yeah, that's
I like
because
it.
But that's because they're French. Like the French are just
True.
weird.
They are.
Well, the thing is with France, it's the biggest market for anime and manga outside of Japan. So that's why they're taking inspiration from anime and manga. And something that I've had French fans tell me is that they value physical media. So and they like treasure their collections of anime and manga. So
as everyone should, yeah.
Yeah, so they make like when you look at their sales, you got to keep in mind that everything is physical copies. So, and that's why like digital services don't work very well.
But yeah, I mean, to Leslie's point, U.R.C. it is.
And yes, hold on a second, real quick. Yes, Leslie, I did see your message earlier.
But to like Leslie's point, it's not a conspiracy, it's not a theory. Like boy brands are being actively degraded in a sense. So what Nerdigans is saying is with the Monster High situation is representative of a larger entertainment trend, which is these companies come in, they get these properties, and they go, what do the fans want? I don't really care. Give them this. So like with Monster High, it went, oh, you want scary goth things? Well, all the AI and market research that we just did said that girls like bright dolls. So let's go with that. And so they completely miss the forest for the trees. And in doing so, alienate everybody. The other problem that's more specific to boy brands, unfortunately, is that men, like, whether it's not just like brands, it's like male spaces, male hobbies, male anything. We live in a time when men are not allowed to have their own things. If you have, oh, this is a boys brand, cannot have that. You got to make sure it's inclusive to everybody. But you don't see the same brands over there going, oh, let's turn, Barbie and, all of her, I don't know anybody except for Ken. Like, let's turn Barbie and Ken into Sentai heroes. Like, nobody's doing that because to them, because of the weird identity politics hierarchy we exist in nowadays, like women good, men bad. Women have been so disenfranchised and abused and whatever throughout history that they deserve their spaces. But men, you're so evil, you cannot have anything because anything that's just for men promotes bad, evil, toxic behavior. So that's why, Star Wars is dead, Marvel is dead, Power just for, is it really? Is it not? Is that the hair thing?
I don't know. I was just making it up.
Well, it's
women have beards now too, Spencer.
Well,
Come on.
I know I'm being transphobic, but I that piqued my interest for a second because my next example that I was going to say is like what was it, like a month ago, the Boy Scouts of America officially
Yeah, I
had
saw
to
that.
like go change their name to Scouting of America. Meanwhile, Girl Scouts, totally still cool. Go get them, girls. You guys are the best. But you can't have just Boy Scouts anymore. Now they're just Scouts. And it is that reaction to all of the Me Tooing, the identity politics, all of the victimization. It's men bad, don't have anything that promotes men because men hurt, and women good all the time, no matter what. It's, I mean, the logic isn't even that deep. It is more just purely tribalism. At the end of the day, all of this is tribalism. They want to destroy your brand because whether they want to acknowledge it or not, they don't like you. They don't think you deserve it. They don't think this is worth anything. They think they can do better and teach you better about everything. And that's where everything is falling apart. I mean, we all know this. I'm not saying anything that's completely new.
Well, no, I just want to add that Jacob suddenly got teleported to the surface of the sun, so he has gone to take care of that. He'll be back shortly. His AC went out, and in Georgia.
Oh, I thought he got
surface.
a mission from the Magical Society to reignite the sun because
Oh,
you know
well,
that
you
makes
know.
all the white people on Earth very happy.
Maybe the sun.
And Neil can be amazed at the touch of the black man. Ooh. I bring light.
Earlier when you were talking about like this would have been a good scene for Sam if he just did this one thing. I was like, oh no, are you going to reference this? Is this what you're referencing? And then you had like an actual scene. Yeah.
I legit try to fix their problems.
You did.
I have this weird mental derangement where I try to fix their problems as opposed to laugh at them. I try to incorporate Rey into the worlds that I rebuild. I try to make sense of her. For a little while, I had this fantasy that if I put together a Star Wars story of my own on Twitter using AI art, it would appeal to Disney. Like I'm a little guy, nobody fucking cares what I have to say. But I had this weird fantasy that they would just find it in hashtags and go, you know what, this isn't a bad idea. This actually makes sense with Rey, and it doesn't defeat our effort with her. So that again, like I get what their effort is to try and like pass the chosen one mantle on. So have her the daughter of Anakin. But he didn't like, boink anybody to make her. He did the Plagueis thing like we saw the lesbian witches do, but without the musical number. And again, like it screwed up, so it took time, right? And this was what I was pushing, was that she had memories of Vader in her head that were haunting her, and they would manifest as like PTSD flashbacks for her because she was part Vader. And so this explains her insane power, her horrible attitude, and her inability to get along with anybody at all, and her immediate ability to pilot anything she lays a hand on. So, and it was just trying to make sense of it all so it didn't defile what we knew about Star Wars. And then, scissoring saved the universe, so it didn't matter anymore. Speaking of scissoring to save the universe.
We will get into. But yes, clearly, before we get into the Acolyte, let's talk about the recent Dragon Age, the Veil Guard. Let's just talk about the disaster surrounding this game. So, for those of you who, just for a quick recap, Dragon Age, long-running Western like RPG game from BioWare, the same studio behind Mass Effect. It was very popular in its first couple games. The last, I think, Inquisition wasn't that well received, or two. One of them, people didn't like. But over the last 10 years or so, they've been working on a new entry in the series. It was previously called Dreadwolf. Earlier this week or last week during the Summer Games Fest, it got retitled to Dragon Age: The Veil Guard, and let's just say that whoever is in charge of this game's marketing needs to be absolutely fired. So if you guys don't know Dragon Age, or if you do know Dragon Age, the game is very much a Western style RPG, very dialogue heavy, very slow, very interact with everything, try to get the lay of the land, build your relationships, both romantically and platonically, politically, with people, whether you're allies or NPCs, all of this stuff. It's just sort of like that expansive choose your own adventure style that we see from the West. When they debuted the first official look at the game, the trailer that came out looked like a damn so it looks like a hero shooter. It looked like a multiplayer shooter because it had all this. It was this montage of characters. it's so bad that there are like 7 different criticisms that I want to level, and I don't even know how to start. So here's how I'll start. This initial reveal trailer, you're expecting something dark and brooding, and at least, or maybe not dark and brooding because that's not necessarily Dragon Age, but something fantasy, something epic, something we have a journey ahead of us. What players instead got was a mini Suicide Squad 2016, right? And that is a movie I consider to be the worst movie ever made, and not by plot standards or like technical quality, but that movie is just it is dripping with like, this is clearly executive decision, this is a bad decision, there's meddling, this is all just meant to sell the brand. Like it's a commercial. And that's what we got with this Dragon Age trailer, where you had the trailer is basically 2 characters in a pub getting in a fight, and they're like, well, we have a new mission to go on. What do we need? Well, we need somebody who can travel long distances. And then the trailer cuts to an elf who knows how to portal jump, and it shows like a big stylized card with her name on it and her role. And then she's like leaping into action, and then haha, here's a joke, she gets grabbed by like tentacles and pulled back into the portal she was leaping out of. Like, it's so MCU-y and so terrible. Like, I do not know who approved of this trailer. I don't know why anybody said this is how we want to advertise our game. Because
and then Vincent Price is in the game too as a necromancer, but he's
he's
really
Solas.
Price.
He's
They
Solas.
just got like this close to Vincent Price, but for legal reasons, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Legally distinct Vincent Price.
Yes. Yep. Legally distinct.
But then, this trailer comes out. It's cartoony. It ends with like a scene of all the heroes like going back to back fighting a horde of zombies, and it just looks like an Overwatch cutscene. I bring that up because literally the next day they did a gameplay reveal, which it didn't. I'm not going to speak because I'm not a big Dragon Age fan. From a general video game perspective, it looked fine. It looked like what I would generally expect the skeleton of a Dragon Age to look like. It admittedly looks a little bright. It has a lot of jumpy sort of ability combat that you might see from like a hero shooter, but in a single player game. So don't know how it's going to turn out, but like that was a better effort to introduce everything than a weird multiplayer shooter. But regardless, that wasn't even the biggest topic of the Dragon Age reveal. It was, in fact, this news here that in the upcoming game, all the characters are going to be pansexual. Now, obviously, with all of these new sexualities and all of this stuff, it gets super confusing. So essentially, for those who don't know, pansexual is a term meaning you are attracted to anyone regardless of their gender or whatever. In the past, we used to call that bisexual. Now, because there's 900 different genders that everybody can be attracted to, you got to come up with a new name for it. Technically, that term works in for example, Marvel has called Deadpool pansexual. And to me, that makes sense because Deadpool, he'll have sex with a woman, he'll have sex with a man, but he'll have sex with like a frog monster. He'll have sex with like a ghost. Like he'll go for anything. That's pansexual. But that's okay. That's my own English soapbox. But regardless, the creative director for the Dragon Age franchise came out and he said that all of the characters in Veilguard are going to be pansexual. And all right, so how do I break this down? Because it's slightly confusing and there is a difference because a lot of people look at this and they go, oh, they're pansexual. That means they're attracted to anybody. That just means they're open to being romanced by the player, regardless of gender, which is like that would make sense, right? Like to me, I would be behind that because that's like a player mechanic. Like, oh, shoot, you're developing your story. Your actions affect the world. If a character you think is straight, like you go hit on them, maybe there's a point where they go, oh, maybe I am into men. Like, let's explore this and so on and so forth. What is actually happening in Veilguard is that regardless of your interaction with these characters, so like even if the game never happened and your player character never entered this world and it was going on its own, every one of these characters and not just your character, like your teammates, but like in the world.
Hold on, Spencer, real quick. Those are I asked Dragon Age fans, and I posted it like an official image from the game. I asked them what their thoughts on the game are because they've been waiting 10 years for this. and I got so much feedback. And Cider will scroll down. A lot of people were saying that this looks more like Mass Effect than Dragon Age, and they were saying that that this wasn't even Dragon Age anymore. That they were going to pass on it too.
Well, I mean, that's sort of why I gave that sort of mini disclaimer when I was talking about the actual gameplay footage, because like I see it and I go like, this, it has the basic skeleton of a Dragon Age game, but something feels off. But I don't have the like authority or the background to talk on it, right? So it makes sense.
Also, the community manager posted like a full summary of all the features in the game too. Just wanted to point out that was shown. There's a lot, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sure this thing has got to be big. I mean, they're competing with Baldur's Gate 3, so good luck to them. But yeah, regardless, back to the pansexuality.
Nailed it.
That's
what do you know?
I love those very simple, like doink, like 2 words. You got it. But yeah, so all the characters in this world now have a giant, like they are all attracted to everybody, which I don't know, man. That just doesn't that stretches believability. Just at the very bottom line, I'm sitting here and we all know me on the stream. Clearly, I am admittedly the more fine, like passive with like LGBT stuff. But even this, I sit here and I'm like, this doesn't work. How does everybody develop that particular sexuality? You're telling me everybody in this world is just totally into everybody and nobody has a preference? And I'm like, then if I put on my tinfoil hat, I'm like, well, that's what the neoliberals kind of want to make the world, right? It's transphobic to have preferences if you don't want to date trans people. It's racist if you have preferences. It's racist if your dating history doesn't have a certain amount of ethnic people. Like, it's bizarre. It's such a dumb move, at least in my mind, because it breaks credibility. This isn't a new IP. If you were like, oh, here's a brand new world, and in my fictional world, this world grew out to, be completely open to having relations with each other or whatever, fine, right? At least there's some sense to that. This is like, we've had worlds before where characters were like, oh, I'm not gay. Or like we've had games before where like, oh, I'm not gay. Oh, I'm not straight. Sorry, I don't lean that way. And now you're just going, well, they were bigots. In reality, everybody should be sleeping with or be open for everybody. And it's just like, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. Knock it off.
From what I understand is that like it's kind of like a Baldur's Gate situation where you develop relationships, and as you develop the relationship, that's how your sexuality is, and you can be attracted to anything. But but here's the thing though. But here's the thing though. This is where I have a problem. I just don't like that they used, and I think this is what Dragon Age fans were saying too. They just don't like having a label on it. Like just say that you could be that you could just develop your character's sexuality and fall and romance and all that. Just don't have a label on it. Just
okay. So that. I agree, or like I hear that, but I think this is sort of what I was trying to clarify at the very beginning, because it is a very confusing, like this is a very confusing bit of discourse. Like I admit, the complaint, it's not that the player character has like an open sexuality, because yes, that is player choice. That's your avatar. You can make it function however you want. It is the fact that, like I was saying, where if you took out the player character, if that story never happened and that world was just existing, somehow, according to the lore, all of those characters would have developed an attraction to everything else, just independent. That's not the player influencing their sexuality. And that's what I was giving of an example before. Like in Dragon Age, I believe Inquisition, or no, it was 2. In Dragon Age 2, there were companions you had that were very clearly like straight or very clearly gay or whatever, right? But you could put in the effort to romance them, and their dialogue options would eventually go, like they would be romanced by you, and they would acknowledge like, I never thought about this. I didn't know until you blah, blah, blah. That's the player changing their sexuality. That's the player going, I think this character like could be gay. Let's go for it. Instead, they're going, everybody here is totally gay and totally straight at the same time. They're open for anything. It doesn't matter what you think.
You blame Bethesda. They're the ones that did this in Skyrim. When you get that amulet, you slap it onto any old NPC and they'll marry you. They don't even question it. They're just like, we're married. They don't even say anything. You're
But
just
see,
married to
like
him now.
like those kind of that is like a fun little bit that I'm totally okay with. I'm
You're my
even
wife
okay-
now. Doink.
I mean, it's better than Fable, where like you didn't even give
yeah.
them an item. You just went to a menu and it said like, are you married now? Yes.
Wife.
And then and then you have a house all of a sudden. But yeah, like
All of a
it's the
sudden.
fact that it's not the big complaint here is that there's no player choice. All of these
Yeah, I
characters
agree with you on that.
are now defined as LGBTQ plus 502X because of that. And it's like, yeah, you could have had a system, Nerdigans, where just make everybody romanceable and let, maybe this person is gay, or maybe you don't romance everybody. It's just, it feels more lazy.
It feels
than
like
anything.
it's lazy and you just robbed the player of their choice. That's
right.
what it
That's
feels
100%
like.
what it is. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Nerdigans, like the biggest red flag here is this is a BioWare game. I don't remember the last time BioWare made a hot game. Mass Effect Andromeda, I know that wasn't the core team, but they've been folded in now because that game was so bad.
Yeah, Mass Effect. I looked into the production team, and some of the people from Mass Effect Andromeda were working on this game. And the creative director that said this went protected on his Twitter account. So that was probably for a reason.
I want to point this out because I did notice that you highlighted that. Yes, he went private, but I also, a lot of people in our sphere always go, oh, look, this person's private now. This person's private now. We didn't even say anything. They're private now. And it's like, look, they probably went private because they know they're going to get backlash, whether it's deserved or not. And they just don't want to deal with it. And I really can't fault anybody for that. The creative director for Dragon Age, he locks his account before he comes and says this. He knows he's going to get backlash, rightfully so, but he's just choosing I'm not going to engage. I don't need this right now. And that's how we should be using the internet. That's the same argument of if I were to say that that's a bad move, then I would be on the side of all the crybaby game journalists who go, voice chat or muting isn't an option. We all need to be nice to each other. Don't ever say anything. And it's nah, I think everybody just needs to breathe for a second. not that I'm supporting his creative decision. Just I get why he wouldn't want to deal with it.
Speaking of strange creative decisions, we have Ubisoft.
Yeah,
oh,
we gotta
God.
talk about this, Cider. This is.
So we'll make
We're the racist. We're the racist, right? We're the racist.
But the
We're the
Japanese.
racist.
I was saying this on Monday. I went on Japanese Twitter and I looked at some of the comments. They were not happy with this. And a good chunk of them said they would have been fine with Naue. They would have just played her. They said, just give us her and we would have just been fine. So why is this here?
During Games Fest 2024, Summer Games Fest, Ubisoft showed off the gameplay footage for Assassin's Creed Shadow. Now, if you're not familiar with the Assassin's Creed Shadow situation, they have taken the singular, only ever recorded military black samurai, okay? So, in all of Japan's history, they've only ever had one black sword bearer. He was never a samurai. Very nice try, West, but he was never a samurai. So because this guy didn't have a cool enough life for Ubisoft, the guys that put this together, they decided to the ladies, when you look at the dev team, the ladies that put this together, they decided to completely rewrite this guy's extraordinary story. Now I'll go over just a quick overview of this guy. In real life, he was a slave that was brought to Japan. A regional lord who was very powerful, very influential, named Nobunaga, took an interest in him, asked to own him. He was given ownership of him as sort of one of those welcome us into your land, please don't harass us kind of things. And Nobunaga tried to scrub the black off of him quite frequently. He gave Yasuke the right of carrying his sword, which again, very important. Nobunaga's own blood family members never got this honor. And it is an honor. It's not, you're not a bat boy. This is a weapon to kill with in this time, or a weapon to perform ceremony with. It was not for show. And so very important kind of role he had. So they've rewritten him now to be a samurai that not only is meant to be an assassin, which at some point he'll turn on his master, the most disgraceful act a samurai could ever perform, by the way. Now, he'll also be chopping up historical Japanese figures, all right, in broad daylight. Now, it gets even worse, because what you're about to hear is a hip-hop remix that only plays during Yasuke's battle scenes. Do you get it? He's black. Do you get it? He's black,
so
guys.
embarrassing, dude. Like, oh my gosh.
And so
Oh God.
now they did okay with this presentation. Now I know somebody out there got hired and fired or whatever for this situation right here. Okay, so what you're about to see is this character named Fukioka Jiro getting his head chopped off. Now I went and I looked. Fukioka Jiro is not a historical figure from this time period. He's just a dude that much later on walked the earth. Had nothing to do with Sengoku era, nothing to do with Nobunaga. Just another Japanese guy that I think ran for office at some point. Not the guy that they particularly chose, just a name out of a hat. Now, I believe this was for the demonstration because at some point, he has to start hacking up actual Japanese historical figures in order for this to be Assassin's Creed. But the problem is this is a real human being that was a retainer, meaning he carried the sword for his lord. And him turning that sword on his lord is like the peak of offense, meaning they've completely rewritten this guy's life. They've taken even the impetus for his existence and they've stripped him of that just to replace it with this. All right, you're going to watch him knock the head off of this guy. He's coming around for it. There it is. There's the finisher. So this, by the way, when Johnny Somali is like on the mind of most Japanese people that have to go out in public, you now have an oversized black character dressed all in samurai regalia, lobbing the heads off of Japanese historical figures. I would close the borders. Anything with an American flag coming toward that island, shoot it.
all Metal Gear Solid games completely banned. Like, just get out of my face. No, but like, this is what I'm saying. You shared this with us earlier, and I shared this. I shared your video coverage of this yesterday, and my point was like, remember, guys, we get called the racist for saying this is weird, this is historically inaccurate. Why can't we get an Asian protagonist? But in case you forgot, he's black. Here's his hip hop soundtrack. Like it's parody. It's beyond parody at this point. What's that joke? It's like, I was going to like enter a racist competition, and then I saw my opponent was an anti-racist, so I dropped out. Like, that's exactly what happens every time, like every single time. Hey, Timon, how's it going? Yeah, and well, so DC3 notes that Wikipedia talks about Yasuke being African. He might not even be African. He might be Indian. So for the most part, it's pretty assured or like pretty like 99.9% assumed that he was African. But the reason I wanted to address your point is the Wikipedia situation in particular. Over the last couple weeks, and you're going to keep seeing it, and it's going to probably be like this for a long time. The Wikipedia's like more neoliberal, left-leaning like editors have been in a war with people who care about facts and about whether Yasuke was an actual samurai or not. And so, like, the way I put it, and I think I've said it on this show before, but like, yes, Yasuke was a samurai, but he was a retainer, right? So it's kind of like the difference between a doctor of literature and a medical doctor. If you went to a function or something and you said, yes, I'm a doctor, you are technically right. But if you went up to everybody and were like, yes, I'm a doctor. Yes, call me Dr. Bakuli, please. Everybody would go, like, you are trying way too hard. Like, you're not actually, though. You're technically one, but you're not really a doctor. And so Wikipedia is in this landlocked battle to take every bit of like, we don't have exact confirmation, so that means he was a samurai. And it's like, you just be careful about what you read on Wikipedia, I guess is what I'm going with. Always check the sources.
They want to make sure that they want to make him a samurai because it's not good enough that this guy traveled pretty much halfway around
No.
the planet and then was given an incredibly honorable position that blooded clan members of Nobunaga did not hold, okay? And Nobunaga, again, I don't expect everybody to know everything about Japanese history, but Nobunaga is one of the more prominent figures in their history. I place him
He's
like
on
he
the
didn't
cover
play
of
this
Pokemon
role
Conquest, you might
in
remember.
their he didn't play this role in their culture, but he has the kind of historical prominence of John Adams. He's not that guy, but like on the order of guys we still talk about, he has that kind of level in Japan. He's an influential figure, and he has a very long, very storied position in Japanese history, despite his brutal end. And so again, like making him a villain, I understand. We had this with the Assassin's Creed setup with the founders and the Templar being involved with the founding of America in #3. That was handled okay. Washington in a dreamlike environment and an alternate reality is a evil Templar robot monster, and that's fine. That's fine because it's in an alternate reality. But you have an actual historical figure now, a real human being that you've rewritten the life of because he wasn't cool enough to you. You could have just gotten a samurai. Just consider what they've done to Yasuke to make him cool, and they could have just gotten a regular guy that actually did everything they're gonna make Yasuke do. And it just you muted Spencer.
Like, okay, so like there's that, and then the other bit that really gets me is like you mentioned it where they rewrote Yasuke's entire story, right? But they didn't just rewrite like, oh, he came to Japan and then became an actual samurai. They rewrote his origin. According to the leaks, rather than having been brought to Japan as the assistant to a like Catholic missionary in Shadows, Yasuke is on a slave like trading ship from the East African slave trade. It gets attacked by pirates, and then he somehow washes up on the shore of Japan. Like if you wanted to tell that story, you don't need Yasuke for that. You could make an original character. If you made him black, it would still have been dumb, but it's still they're using Yasuke simply so that they can go, he's real. What you hate real history? And it's like, again, technicality, he was real, but he ain't doing all this. Like none of this ever happened. And so like it's bizarre. Again, like Cider said, this is the first time a historical figure has been playable in this series. So it's all just noise propaganda. Like
it's extremely insulting too. The Japanese
100%.
So pissed. A lot of, and I said this yesterday because like literally like this is a couple days or the day after Assassin's Creed Shadows did their gameplay reveal, and then they did more footage, released more footage yesterday. Sucker Punch released Ghost of Tsushima content, and I'm like, dude, they know what they're doing. Sucker Punch did that on purpose. They know. Their marketing team knows, because now they're probably selling even more games.
Yes, but he's not a protagonist. Naoe is the protagonist in the story. Yasuke he's an optional character you can play. He's not the main character, if you will. This is their
so what it is he is the main character, and that also represents like a weird split, because yes, Naoe or whatever her name is like, it's a split protagonist thing where Naoe is the assassin and then Yasuke is the samurai. But the odd thing here is that this is the first time Assassin's Creed has ever forced you to play a dual protagonist story like that.
Yeah.
In the past, you either had one protagonist, or I mean, I guess the Jacob and Evie Fry were like, I guess they switched protagonists, but they were like the same character. They played the same. But this is the first game where like if there's a female option, it's not, or like you have to play as other genders and not like a male. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like other games, you could pick your character, right? Like, do you want to be a male or a female? What do you want to do?
Play a male path or a female path.
Right. This game, they're going, you have to play both. You are going to play both of these stories. And it's like, you guys are trying way too hard here.
Before we move on to this next thing, though, we
Yep.
have a member of the channel, Meteor Advocate Timon, asking, it says in an earlier AC games, you play as non-historical figures because it's supposed to be the story behind the history. This is correct.
Right.
This is why Connor was a home run for most of the people here on the panels, because everybody understood his story, and the fact he has a twist of being a spoiler for a game that's over 10 years old.
For like
Spoiler,
a 40-year-old kid.
Connor's father is a Templar. And it made perfect sense because they showed you what happened to his village and how that came to be. So it made again, it wasn't insulting like, oh, white people bad. It illustrated that evil people are bad. This is deliberately, the developers went out and said they needed non-Japanese eyes for this. Okay? They told the Japanese that to their faces, in fact, okay? It doesn't get any uglier than that when you tell the people that you're spitting in the face of that you're spitting in their face.
And like, that's the insane part, is that they actually came out and said it, because I've been on like the point I just want to bring up and make sure, like, I like bringing this up every time just so we all remember it. This is the first Assassin's Creed game where the protagonist is not native to the area where the game is taking place. There are two, and I'll give my asterisk as always. Black Flag, yes, it's a British man in the Caribbean, but that's what pirates were back then, and that's where they were hanging out. Huh.
You're right. This is all about the fact that Japan has been notoriously and globally known for being homogenous.
Yes.
Out of most nations in the world, Japan has remained the we're Japanese and nothing else out of most nations. And so the whole point of this is, look here, we found the most foreigner we could ever find, and we're going to make him teach you a lesson, Japanese man.
About your culture. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and it's like, think of,
well,
just,
I mean,
10 years ago,
yes.
This would have been laughed out, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were in high school. If this had come out instead of Assassin's Creed 3, if this had been their attempt for Assassin's Creed 3, they would have been done. It would have been over with. They would have been pre-canceled for their racism. I don't know about you, but I remember when you would just show a black character and put some hip-hop music in the background, they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, there are black dudes out there that like country music, you know? You don't, like, just slap hip-hop music. And furthermore, Yasuke was never American, right? He never set foot in America, and yet you throw hip-hop behind him because, like, by the way, guys, he's black.
America didn't even exist back then. Like as a nation, like it couldn't have existed.
It's on a Japanese map somewhere, but that's about it. And speaking of being on a map somewhere and coming out, we finally have the coup de grace.
Yeah, guys, let's get into this. Let us get into the Acolyte. I honestly wish we just had it.
The source of the rebellion.
I just wish we had like some clip of like the Death Star blow, of just everything exploding, because the rumors are true, ladies and gentlemen. The third episode of the Acolyte, if Star Wars was not already dead, this would kill it. But you know, like a more appropriate approximation is like, this opened up the casket to this went into Star Wars hospital room where it's barely hanging on as it's in like the last stages of its life, where maybe it could make a miracle recovery in like a miracle chance. And they just unloaded like an AR-15 into its face.
Before we really get into this, because we got to deep dive into this, can you pull up the article that I have here? I've done this once before here on this show, but I have to keep going back to this, because if you guys recall on my site, Society Reviews, I wrote this article back in 2018. So this is actually about 6.5 years ago. I wrote this and I asked the question, is it already over for Disney Star Wars, right? And I just want to read just a little bit, because this is the mindset of how I was looking ahead at this 6.5 years ago versus what we're about to talk about tonight. This is going to be a perfect thing. So this is after the failure of The Last Jedi. It seems like less than 6 weeks ago, the sky was the limit for Disney Star Wars. The hype train was off the charts and everyone wanted to see the future of the franchise. Well, after a few weeks, it seems like the wheels are falling off of Disney's cash cow. I said this in 2018. I've already gone into my feelings about The Last Jedi. I stand by my statement, which I completely do, by the way. However, the box office performance of the film has a lot of people looking deeper into the franchise and wondering, is the party already over for Disney's Star Wars? The audience for The Last Jedi has turned their noses on the latest project, not making it arguably the most hated Star Wars film ever, but the box office numbers are a significant drop-off from The Force Awakens in 2015, nearly $700 million shortfall from that film, and then go to, what was it, the Rise of the Skywalker, did even less than this film, so yeah, everyone can see the writing on the wall here, but yeah, that bit of a drop-off was very concerning at the time, especially considering the fact that the film pretty much bombed overseas in the Chinese market. Remember, they were pushing China very, very hard at this time period. But now I can't pretend like the movie hasn't flopped with $1.3 billion worldwide. It's nothing to sneeze at. However, Star Wars is one of the most recognizable franchises in the world. People literally watch a film just because it has Star Wars in it with the title, and then that's how much it means to them. I believe, however, The Last Jedi has killed that nostalgia factor for many people. The memories of the original trilogy over and over again are dead, and then in many ways in one. If you look at the future of Star Wars, there isn't much excitement for any of the characters that they have established. The toys are not selling the way that they used to. You guys remember all those Rose Tico toys? They're still out there. The outlets are overstocked with expensive Star Wars collectibles. If Disney's plans to hook a new generation for their cash cow over the next 40 years, their plan is not going to happen here. Everybody remembers Purple here over there as well. If you think the rut patch is over for Star Wars, this goes on talking about, like, you know, the Solo movie, which is a disaster. Turns out it was a disaster. Shocking there. And then it says that Disney is bracing themselves for the Han
this is
Solo.
written pre-Solo. That's so weird.
Pre-Solo too. So, like I said, they were worried about all that before the Last Jedi controversy. Now they're essentially writing off Solo, the lead actor. Like I said, they buried Aiden Eisenreich, saying that he couldn't act. Keep in mind, they were saying this like 6.5 years ago. Then he ended up being a part of the crew that won an Oscar for Oppenheimer just earlier this year. So much for he can't act. The whole movie is his fault. That whole narrative didn't work out very well for him. But and then of course, Phil Miller and Chris Lord had left the project after clashing with Kathleen Kennedy, 2018, by the way. If The Force Awakens was the honeymoon for the franchise, 2018 may be the divorce papers are drawn. The damage has already been done. The fans are angry, and the next project looks to tap to a train wreck months before its release. And if there's anything that will drive audiences to see Star Wars Episode 9 in 2019, but at this rate, the Star Wars is a boxer that's on the ropes. It isn't done yet, but a couple more punches, it won't be able to recover. 2018, and now
here we are today. We are officially, like, that's what's so I love. That's why I had to like interject, because I'm listening to your entire post, and it's pre-Solo. It's literally the same like issues that have carried us all the way through, and that's sort of like what I was saying, where like, if Star Wars wasn't already dead, this was the thing that would kill it. And because it's already dead, this is like beyond defiling corpses. Like, this is like they're going Hamas on like on the Star Wars brand at this point.
And the whole point of me reading that is that I was just pointing out that a smart person could have seen that they were in trouble 6.5 years ago. Like, a smart person could see, like, hey, look, things aren't really stacking up very well for the future. How can we right this ship so that we can keep this afloat? Because as bad as The Last Jedi was, Star Wars was still salvageable at that point. If they would have like made some changes and some adjustments there, they could have pulled themselves out of it at that point. All they've done over the course of the last 6.5 years is double and triple down and piss off even more fans up to this point. Because even The Last Jedi was like a bad movie, but compared to what we're about to talk about now, nothing in that film was egregiously bad to the point of what we're seeing with modern Star Wars at this point.
All right,
Like,
so we got to pull the Band-Aid off, guys. We keep dancing
Let's pull it
around
off.
it. Just so you know, you can now make babies with the Force at will. There's one little catch, one teeny tiny little catch that, you know, a lot of people kind of told, a lot of people told me it was never, ever going to happen. It was totally, they wouldn't do this to Star Wars. They weren't going to princess up Star Wars, but
stop trying to disprove Sider's theories. They're always right.
Right. One way or another, I'm always right. So we're not going to play the audio. So we'll just take a look at this. So a musical number. There are now Broadway musical numbers in Star Wars. What? Come on, Elon. Stop doing it.
I know. Come on.
So
help us out.
As you can see, they're doing this. So the musical notes are there for a reason. They are singing the power of one.
The power of one.
The power of two. The power of many. Again, like, this is a Broadway thing. I promise you. So I come from stage acting. I recognize this. I don't know what show it's from, but they have ripped it one for one from an
Cider.
actual stage show.
Cider,
Put it to you this
crazy-
way: the
Go ahead, yeah.
lesbians who are in charge of the writing room has pretty much written their witch coven into the show, and this is quite literally what they did.
Well, that's what I was about to say. So Leslie Headland, A, yes, she's like into the occult, but B, Cider, to your point about, and I'm not dissuading your point. I just wanted to get to Cider's. Like to your point, Cider, like you're saying, oh, this feels like a stage production. Leslie Headland, the thing that caught like Kathleen Kennedy's attention to give Headland this project was a stage play based on her own terrible relationship with her sister. Like you are seeing all the threads, pun intended, throughout this entire series. Like it's all so very self-inserty, so just very obvious. Like it's bad is pretty much the summary I can give of it.
So what the gist of, right, is that
let's break
this is
down.
a ceremony that's happened after the children are born. You have the children right here. These are the children right here. But basically, this is the effort that it takes in order to do this. They have to channel their power together. They have to make sure that they're applying it during some type of celestial eclipse that involves a ringed moon of some sort. Because it's space, guys. It can't just be a regular old rocket space. But, they do the power of many, the power of two. These two that are leading it, the spiked head one and this gal that's doing the spirit gun to the sky thing, these two are the ones that created the twins here that are on their knees accepting the power of many or whatever. And so what happened here is that the black one, she says, I conceived them, and the white one says, I gave them life. And so these are witches, by the way. These are not Jedi. These are not Sith. These are completely divorced from this whole light dark split.
Well,
this isn't Star Wars. Like this is just a different show at this point.
Well, like okay,
it's Rebel Moon.
it is Rebel Moon. I love. Yes, again, it is. So yeah, just quick recap for my own thoughts. Cider already did a good job, but I have it like there, and it's how I will get to my next point. But this episode of The Acolyte is basically the origin story for Amanda Stenberg's characters, both of the lesbian space twins, right? And it turns out that their parents are part of a random space witch coven, which A, doesn't feel like Star Wars, to the point, like you just saw that like weird ritual Broadway dance they were doing. Here's how little Star Wars this entire moment feels. After they do their weird little like chanting, that black lady, Jodie Turner-Smith, who played the race-swapped Anne Boleyn, she starts giving the speech about like, yes, sisters, we're gathered, the ritual starts, they hate our power, they want to control it. And while she's talking, you hear in like the distance a generic like like a witch cackle, and I'm like, are you kidding me here? Yep. And keep in mind, these aren't even Night Sisters. We have witches in Star Wars that have been established that the fandom is generally okay with, and they said, nope, we have to make our own original like witch coven and with their own original powers, and it has nothing to do with what George Lucas or any of you idiots made. So what happens is we learn that through just manipulation of the Force, Jodie Turner-Smith was able to implant embryos. Well, not even implant, but like bring to life like gestated, ready to develop embryos inside of the other witch with the Zabrak witch, the white with the white face and the horns and stuff. So what this episode basically did was confirm that life can be born from the Force, and these witches were able to do it, whether easily or not. They were able to do it, and they did it to the extent where they were able to make two full-on twins in the form of May and Osha. Now, like Nerdigan said, lesbian space witches making babies. That's not Star Wars. What more do we have to say here? And, to throw the bone to what I'm sure all the rest of us are thinking, this is just more of that I guess is the right term like transhumanist propaganda, where it's like everybody can get pregnant, it doesn't matter, we can do
No, the transhumanism is more the robot and humanity
okay.
mixing up
What am
here.
I-
But,
what am I
but Leslie just brought this up, and a few people brought this up in the chat. Yeah, I don't think that those were like fake witch chants that they were doing on the show, because clearly Filoni's wife is obviously in some kind of witch coven. Like I said, this is something that I've noticed and I've talked about here in the last like few years now. It's like people think that when they're watching like these occult rituals on these television shows, that they're just saying like all these mumbo jumbo words. Like, no, these people are now putting legit occult stuff into television shows, and I guess hoping or maybe thinking that the people watching at home are just going to gloss over and be like, oh, this can't actually be real. But we mentioned this with what was it, Doctor Strange 2, when that movie came out a couple of years ago. There were a lot of people, come on, it's not just Christian like talk here. I mean, these were secular people that were all noticing like, wow, there was a lot of like demonic stuff in the was it the Doctor Strange 2 stuff, because they knew about the occult, and they were realizing, oh wait, this is like actual like occult stuff. This is just like Hollywood hocus pocus that's going on here.
There's Oscar and award shows with the weird gay guy and Taylor Swift and her glowy balls.
Yeah, right. And it was like I said, what was my popular saying here on this program? It's like, once is a coincidence, like twice is a pattern, 3 times it's an agenda. And I mean, you don't have to like go too far to understand exactly like what's going on here. So that's just one aspect of it. The whole thing of we're now just making lesbian force babies because this is how far we're trying to remove men like from society. It's like, I guess they told us that, hey, the force is female now, right? So it's like, we don't even need men for creation anymore. This is how much we're just going to divorce completely from reality.
I didn't even think about that point. Like, the force is female, so we don't even need men for birth. Because I was about to. I saw how the force was female applied in this episode, but I didn't even think of that. That's a really that's a good connection.
It's it's Leslie Headland. Like I said in the video, it's Leslie Headland's fetish of being able to reproduce with her wife without a man.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find that a lot of man-hater lesbians have this fantasy that they can use their bone marrow to impregnate one another. And you know that it's the irony of this, the glaring irony of this is that the only way that they can have their worldview become reality is through the lens of science fiction. And where they're the evil witches that are literally evoking devil imagery and burning to death for it, by the way. But I do want to bring your attention, guys, to this. Now, as we know, Star Wars theory is pretty practiced in Star Wars. You know, it's kind of his thing. It's in the name. So he had this to say about it after watching this latest episode. And he says, Palpatine had such a hard time cloning Force sensitives until Moff Gideon. With all his power, knowledge of the Force, and his unlimited resources, as well as the inability to create life, and Force-sensitive life, mind you, which is even more impossible. The Sith, Jedi, Kaminoans, Mother Talzin, the Witches of Dathomir, Darth Plagueis, Anakin, and the Empire itself could do it. Random witches pulling a couple of threads of the Force equals 2 consecutive Force-sensitive children. So powerful, by the way, that the Jedi of the time sense it across the galaxy and race to take power of it. Again, as he says, at what point can we just say WTF?
So this is what I wanted to jump off of in terms of erasing males, replacing males in this boys brand and stuff, because to me this is where the biggest problem with this for me comes from. Like Jacob said, it's science fiction. They always try to do this, blah, 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 blah. In doing this in Star Wars, what happens is we've all seen episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. We all know that there's that scene where Emperor Palpatine talks to Anakin about the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise and how it was so rare and so insane for him to have been able to create life that it was a legend. Like, that's the entire point that he's telling Anakin, is that this power was so rare, but, they said it couldn't be done, but Sidious did it. Now, Mitch Ryan brings up that there is a novel that explored all of this, and he's right. It is a pre-Disney 2008 novel titled Darth Plagueis. And so it's non-canon, but I'm going to bring it up for a reason, and it'll all link back together. So in that book, it is it is the entire book is concerned with Darth Plagueis' search for immortality. And in the book, it is straight up confirmed that at one point, so the ability to like bring life has never been done when Plagueis is around. Plagueis, like nobody has been able to do it. It is legend. It is, it's impossible. That's what everybody thinks. So he dedicates himself to like a decade, 2 decades worth of researching things. He didn't go see, people had done it before. Let me learn their techniques. He went, what do midichlorians do? How does the Force do this? Like he did experiments. He did all this. And then eventually he went, what if I just try? And he put his like power out into the universe, and then nothing happened. Until 9 years later, he met a 9-year-old boy named Anakin Skywalker, which the implication and the confirmation in that book was Darth Plagueis, because he tried to make life, he made life, but it wasn't a Sith like hero for like that he wanted, but the Force decided to make it the guy who would bring balance. It was Anakin. Now, that novel isn't canon anymore. I will admit that. Obviously, it's in Legends. But what is still canon is that Darth Plagueis was able to, at some point, manipulate the power of life. Why I bring up that non-canon thing here is because what you are seeing now with this revelation that long before Plagueis even existed, you had 2 random
hundreds of years,
witches.
though.
Hundreds of years, right?
Right.
Like
so this would mean that
way
what
before.
Plagueis did was that he stole from these witches. Is what Leslie Headland has now illustrated. Again, we don't want Plagueis to be the good guy. Don't get me wrong on this one. His
Right.
name is Plagueis for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
But when you go saying that like the most important Force activity to ever happen in the history of the knowledge of the Force itself is now commonplace and easily replicatable once you know the 11 secret herbs and spices you need to make a Sith baby. It's just, what's the point of it anymore?
So
what is the point?
Like, well, the point is, now I've made my mark on the franchise. I wrote in the earliest spot. Now I've made the mark. But just to close out my point, so what you're seeing now that these 2 space witches are confirmed to be the first ones who have ever done this, it's another case of Disney is taking a monumental, like canon-defining act of a property that originally belonged to a male, and they're giving it to women. Remember, like the Darth Plagueis thing, everybody knows. It's a meme nowadays. Everybody knows the, do you know the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Like, it's a thing. He was a male character. Everybody knew it. And now, even though they're all villains, now you're seeing like, oh, yeah, he had to go through all of this struggle and he could barely hold on to it. And he didn't even know if he was using it right. No. But these women over here, they got it locked down. So they can make babies from the Force. And like Cider is saying, it now, like, not only does it destroy Plagueis' character, but it destroys Anakin's, because Anakin is no longer the chosen one. He is just a chosen one, if you will. He's just the next in line. They had May and Osha or whatever, and then they go, oh, no, that didn't work. So the Force makes Anakin. And then I guess if you want to go by Disney canon, then the Force makes or like helps to make Rey. I don't even care about that. We're not even going to talk about her. But yeah, it's the male erasure of Star Wars. You can't have men involved in the process of making Force babies. You can't have men have done anything of consequence that could have been used in any way possible. Because look, Palpatine is still evil. They've never tried to take anything he's done and frame it as good. But because they think the power of just creating life is an inherently good one that everybody should be able to do, like the writers, they go, oh, well, maybe he's not that bad. And it's all garbage. This is no longer Star Wars. It hasn't been for a long time, but this is officially fan fiction. We have long, like, it again, like, I don't want to sound like, oh yeah, this is finally it. I'm finally realizing how bad it is. But I guess this is like the final, like, official sealing.
There's no turning back. Spencer's trying to say.
Yeah.
There's no turning back here.
Yeah.
This is like the total turning point at this point. This is like rock bottom.
Right.
Yeah. And like, to that point is what Nerdigans has been touching upon. This episode, so we all here have broken down this episode. We know what's in it. Of course, we're not going to like it because we have actual respect for artistry and canon and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So our reactions here kind of expected. Of course, we would have still been talking about it any Wednesday, don't get me wrong. But the bigger thing is that normies, by and freaking large, do not want this. I have seen no defenses of this episode. The best defense I've seen from this episode was from Grace Randolph, who just went, "Oh, you don't like Star Wars? Tell me again. I didn't know that." Where it's like, you're not even engaging with their argument. You're just mad that they're happy. Like, nobody is defend. Forbes published a review by Eric Kane, and Eric Kane straight up headlined his review for Forbes. The Star Wars, The Acolyte, Episode 3, or The Acolyte, Episode 3, the worst episode of Star Wars ever. And then check this, his freaking editors had to come in on like Disney's orders and change that, because his original title, worst episode of Star Wars ever, now reads one of the most disappointing episodes of Star Wars.
Yeah.
No longer the most, no longer terrible, just
because you can't have an opinion that aligns with the bigot. So we have to gaslight everyone into thinking that this is actually a good thing, because the people who we don't like this, and that's the whole reason why they did this in the first place.
No, it's 100% what it is. Like, it's bad. Like that. That's why they had to change that that review. That's why, like, here's how insane the L is. I haven't even seen anybody, like, there have been no, like, CBR, comicbook.com, Variety. Nobody's run a post-episode interview with anybody, right? Like, normally when an episode comes out of any show or a movie, you'll get like, "Oh, we talked to, Jodie Turner-Smith about making her debut in Star Wars." Or, "Oh, we talked to Carrie Ann Moss about reprising her role as the Jedi." Like, those little articles. Nothing. Nobody is talking about this because it's awful. No, there's nothing to be had here. Or, okay. The only cool thing is Master Soul, the guy played by the Squid Game guy. And I think, what does that tell you, Disney? Like, the one normal male character who still fights with like a sense of true justice is the one that universally everybody is going, "I like that." Even like Star Wars Theory has done that. The guys over at World Class Bullshitters had that opinion. Like,
Grace Randolph has
Grace Randolph. Yeah, even she recognizes that. And so he, like, shout out to him. I like whenever he's on screen, but he is in such a bad project. He is in such a, I wouldn't even call this a project. Like, when I heard last week,
it's
all
a
those
project
reports,
in the sense of an inner city project. Yeah.
it is the projects of media.
Like, there you go.
Like last week,
it is beyond the projects of media. It's like if you've been in the Bay Area, it's like the Marin City.
Oh man, it's the Bay. It's the Bay Area of media, right, Nerdigans?
It's like
it's
Oakland,
just
poop included.
It's like the Oakland of media right now. That's the best way to describe it. It's the Oakland of media.
I've been told how bad that is.
Like, it's just so, like, yeah, what I was saying is, like, last week when I heard all of like Chris Gore and Alan Ng like talking about everything is going to go down, I genuinely, my first thought was like, there's no way they just actually do this and lean into everything that everybody has been mocking the franchise for, right? There's no way. Like, come on. Okay,
I mean, that was the warning sign for me, because like, if Alan's going all in on this one, like, yes, Chris Gore can be a little, it's called emotional at times with some of his reviews.
That's what I was about to say.
If Alan's going all in on it, so we know this is bad.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, I heard Chris and I'm like, okay, couldn't be that. Like, maybe Chris is being a little over the top right now. And then I saw it and I was just like, they really, really just said, like, oh, we're going to go full, basically everything we have been mocking them as for years. Like, oh, you're ultra woke. It's Force is female. Everything is this. Everything they've been denying and trying to push back. They just said, okay, fine, we're going to do it. And they did it. And this is, so we see this so often in these emotionally stunted adults of this era, right? Where they think, oh, I'm going to make like such a defiant act. I'm going to quit my job right now. I'm going to refuse to show my ID when I go to vote or whatever. And then they get absolutely shreked by either like security or like their own hubris. And it's like, we told you, what did you want from us? We knew this was coming. You think that you're doing something here. You think you're taking a big stand, Leslie Headland, but we all know that it's for nothing. Like all that you're doing is going to end up in the shopping mall like security office while they call the police. Like it's so pathetic.
So
I mean,
speaking,
just real quick,
what's
and
that?
I'll let Cider go real quick. But
Sure.
another thing just to remember here too is that they told us like a year ago when they were marketing this show, when they were putting it all together, that this was going to blur the lines between good and evil. About looking at the Jedi from a new perspective. It's like, are they really the bad guys? Maybe it's just all about perspective. So it's all, like I said, all of this is just flipping good as evil and evil is good, and throwing everything on top of his head. And that was their only objective with this entire show. That's the only reason why the show exists.
I thought it only existed because it's fan fiction, because they wanted to give this director her own fan fiction.
Like, and even that's an insult to fan fiction, because I mean,
Well-
this isn't even made by. Let's be very clear here. This show is not made by fans
This
of
is just
Star Wars.
fiction.
These
This is
are
a fiction.
people who despise the established fan base of Star Wars and wanted to pervert it into something that they wanted. An actual fan of Star
Tumblr.
Wars would have done something 1,000 times better than this.
This is Tumblr. That's what it is. This is a Tumblr page.
Mhm.
Like I just sat down with AI and slapped this together to bring together what I believe should have been the fix for Rey, right?
I liked this, by the
And
way.
so-
I still am a big fan of your take.
So she's the daughter of Vader, as I explained a little earlier, and you have Luke. He's the leader of the new Jedi Order. He's putting things together. He's a little bit older, right? Played by Sebastian Stan. This is the best AI could do. So just kind of be gentle, all right, guys? So, and she's
Yeah, this
played
was
by
early AI, okay? It wasn't at the point where it's
Right.
at now. We didn't have Sora.
This is 6 months ago, all right? It's gone through a million years of evolution. So anyway, I'm not going to get into like the details of this, but I'll just show you like this is how easy it is to create something. You could have gone to iParty eBay and gotten yourself a Darth Vader costume and just had him just vaguely off to the side, occasionally appearing through this. Rey gets a Sith symbol on her forehead every time his PTSD memory comes to her. And you have him reaching out to her, and then that shifts to Luke here, right? Where he's reaching out to her. Then you have Luke being a father to this small, scared child that doesn't understand where she came from, doesn't know why she can see this stuff about this crazy guy in a Nazi helmet with a respirator problem, right? And you have him being able to be a father figure here, which again takes him out of being the boy that has to conquer his father and into being the man that owns his own life. And that manifests itself by redeeming Anakin in a complete circle by allowing the memory of him to inspire her to stay out of the dark side. That Vader eventually returns to Rey and says, hey, don't go to the dark side. Take it from me, you know? But they won't do that. This could have been so easy to do. They've got Sebastian Stan on their payroll already. You just find a cute little girl in braids. You probably find that in Disney World. You're already kidnapping them anyway. At least pay this one.
I think that's like really indicative of just how mismanaged this brand is. You have Sebastian Stan on your payroll right now. He's on the other lot, or he's in the other studio on the lot. Go get him and make a Luke series or do something. But you won't, because we got to do Rey. We got to have a Rey movie.
But before we have the Rey movie, we've got to make sure that we have this. That we have always one, but born as two. 5 minutes later, I'll kill you.
Dude, okay, these
going great.
I hate this is the level of writing in this story. One of those kids goes,
Doctor Who.
The Jedi are good. The Jedi are bad. That's a literal
I don't
exchange.
know how to human 404 error.
Yeah, this is worse than Doctor Who. Holy crap.
Show, their entire interactions are like, it's supposed to show like, oh, they're siblings who get on each other's nerves sometime, but they love each other. But instead, they literally they come off as like brats. Like, you don't want to deal with them. You're like, shut up, be quiet. Like, why are you fighting? Like, leave your sister alone. Put your foot over there. Like stop. I'm done. They instantly put you in like 4 hour or like hour 4 family road trip vacation dad mode. Like, they are just the worst. She tries to kill her sister by like lighting her on fire. It is, I need to explain how absolutely bonkers, like how they thought this was good writing. So the entire conflict of this episode is the two girls. They're so force strong that the Jedi come and they go, we would like to train them. And the witches go,
Oh, they
no,
come
we
all
don't.
right.
No, all right. The witches go, no, we want to train them. And eventually, one of the sisters decides she wants to be a Jedi. The other one says, no, I want to stay with our family. On the night before the sister who goes to be a Jedi is supposed to leave, her other sister invites her down into like the basement of their like temple, locks her in a room, and then legitimately tries to like light a book. She lights a book on fire and tries to blow her up. And it leads to everybody else dying, which is irrelevant. But it's like, what the hell are like now we're just having.
But wait,
what an escalation is that?
It burns down a metal stone and a metal stone and brick installment in the core of a mountain. They all die. They all die in here. But here's the kicker, right? There's one little detail in all of this. In the first episode, we're told by May, the bad one that goes around killing all the Jedi with the super strong steak knives, super killer steak knives, that the Jedi burned down her home, and she's the one who did it. It's woman to the peak, right? Like, you hear all these people complaining about women not taking accountability. Here we are, the pinnacle of it. I killed my own family, but it's some white dude who hovers in a closet's fault.
You gotta cue the song that he didn't start the fire. Like,
he didn't start the fire. It was always mine. Anyway, we can't get happy. Don't be happy. Be angry, right? But this is what happened, right? Like they were at Jedi practice, and like May looks over at Osha and goes like this. Just like that. Just like that. That's exactly how it happened.
And even that is delivered with like more pathos and ethos than anything in the Acolyte. Like really, it's so insane how bad this show is.
But this killed all the witches, by the way. They all died.
Double the budget for Obi-Wan Kenobi was spent on this. You're looking at, what is it? It's like 213 an episode is what the budget like divides out to. Million, by the way, $213 million an episode for this show for nothing. I don't know, like, again, I'm going to be like the most objective and like fair here. For those of you who have watched The Acolyte and you've watched the production value, which isn't bad, like it looks like a Star Wars show, it's pretty good. Where the hell do you see $213 million in any of the 3 episodes we've seen? It does not exist. And I need to see where the drug dealers on the pay list, how much is the volume costing you? Like, this is like, how much are your
there's a massive
sex assault
money
settlements? Yeah,
there's a massive money laundering scheme happening in plain sight when it comes to Disney, because the budgets that they have for all of these projects, all the money that they're spending, it's not showing up on screen, and there's no actual stars like in the show, so we know they're not spending it on payroll. They're not spending it on where's all this money going?
I know where.
Like, you can't possibly be spending all this on visual effects.
No, it's not on visual effects, guys.
It's going into salaries. And to assistant salaries.
It's going to the catering.
Their assistant salaries. And to their assistant salaries.
It's going to craft services.
Yeah, it's going to craft services. Look at this fella. He's the entire budget for the craft services. $280 million to make sure that his diabetes score doesn't drop during filming.
I mean,
what do you think, Kitty? Yeah, Kitty.
I made a meme about that. Forgot. I made a meme about that. I'll go get
Jedi the Hutt. There are Hutt Jedis, Leslie. There are actually Hutt Jedis. That reminded me.
Yeah, there are Rock Jedis too.
Geo, the best character in the series.
He's the strongest Jedi. He's the chosen one. Geo.
But yeah, like
he's the chosen one. You're the chosen one. We're all the chosen ones.
All the chosen ones are inside me. Like it's so hard. So I know that's the thing from Rise of Skywalker that they do every time now. Like, all of the Ghostbusters are in you, all of the alien resurrections are in you.
Get
like,
them out. I don't want them to stink.
This is my vessel. But yeah, like at the end of this entire thing, it is like what do I have left to say about this episode of The Acolyte? You guys can all clearly see I'm just left befuddled. I'm not even like angry at this point at Star Wars, because as you guys know, I hate this stuff now. just watching everything that Disney has done to the franchise since The Last Jedi has just made me go, I hate this. It's cynical. Like I don't even want to look at it. And it's
Congratulations,
just like,
Disney. You made everyone hate Star Wars. Mission accomplished.
Star Wars. Like,
Iger, why didn't you scrap this? Like, seriously, you scrapped Recess, but you didn't scrap this. How? How did you not do this?
Like I said, Kathleen Kennedy has a video somewhere on her hard drive,
exactly
like
what I was about to say.
Bob Iger either having sex with like a donkey or like a small child or something like that, something incriminating. That's the only excuse of why she's even still around at this point after what, almost 9 years of just absolute trouble.
Again, like to back up Jacob's point, throughout all the stuff we talk about over the last. When was Last Jedi? 2017 or whatever, 16? Like the last 10 years, all of these like failures, whether they be comic book failures, whether they be movie failures, television failures, video game failures, the only person I can actively point to and say they got canned for a bad job on that project was the Blade executive we talked about. That's the only one. Rocksteady Studios is still going great with Suicide Squad. Like Marvel Comics is clearly doing all of their crap that they keep on doing. But everybody keeps their jobs. Nobody gets thumped
unions, man. It's
thumped out of the industry.
Like, and I'm not sure about comics, but in Hollywood, it's unions are protecting them. Unions are really, really, really powerful in Hollywood. They got Hollywood by the balls. That's the problem.
Well, and I think like
thanks,
that
Freemasons.
I mean, we saw that become like a big point of contention back last year during the guild strikes, because I think, you know, at its base, a lot of us can understand and agree with the idea of a union. You know, the workers band together just to make sure our bosses don't take advantage of us. You know, we can collective bargain, not in the full, like, you know, workers sees the means of productions, but like, you know, if you work at a fast food place, you all can stand like with each other to make sure somebody doesn't get overworked for no pay or whatever. In theory, it makes sense. In practice, at least nowadays, it's like you're saying, Nerdigans, it's not about sort of protecting you from unfair business practices per se, but more like the members and the activists have taken that mission and made it about, now you just need to like protect us. Make sure that, they don't want us to write this. They don't want to hire us for this. You have to make sure they do. And it's like, but most of the time you don't really have, like, you guys all suck, but you've got some immutable trait. You're gay, you're black, you're a woman, you're Asian, you're whatever, that gives you that stupid bargaining power that says you have to protect us. You're attacking us. And yeah, a lot of unions these days are just about protecting like the people who, a lot of times when you see unions pop up, it's
only the top too. It's not even the lower right. It's not even like the smaller writers either. It's like the ones at the very, very top, which defeats the purpose of the unions, because unions are supposed to protect the smaller guys. Right. They're supposed to protect the lowest ones. So like in Hollywood, unions are, in my opinion, unions are necessary for writers and for actors, because you've heard the horror stories. They get taken advantage of a lot. But what SAG-AFTRA has done, and it's really disgusting what they're doing, is they're basically ignoring the people that actually need it and are focusing on the people that don't need it because they want their union dues.
Well, and that's exactly it. It's not all the ones you see nowadays aren't about actually bettering the industry. It's about protecting their own assets. Like that's literally all they are. And so that's why during all those guild strikes, you had everybody going, I don't really want to support you, even though on paper, it's one of those ideas that you go, makes sense. But then in practice, you go, well, if that just means I'm going to keep getting Echo, like Loveless is still working in the industry. Zeb Wells is still writing like for Deadpool 3. All of these people just need to go. We need to do like a full cleaning house. And it's not happening. I don't know when it will happen, but
I wanted to just put this over just real quick. This was the article that I wrote after Solo's failure, just a few months after The Last Jedi's failure. And I'm not even going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read just the very first line right here, which is, now tell me if anything has changed in 6 years. 1, push an agenda. 2, demonize anyone who doesn't support the agenda. 3. Lose fans and money. 4. Blame the fans for your failure. Has anything changed in 6 years with Disney Star Wars?
Not a thing.
It's literally the same playbook. It's probably the same font. Like it's insane. That is just the brand now. It is just a vehicle for driving clicks. I guess that is enough to justify spending $80 billion on the Acolyte or whatever it is.
It's like basically like playing that one kid in Madden where all he does is strong toss to the right side, and that's like his entire like game plan is over and over again.
What it is.
It's just that and like so think about this. Like their next plan for this is to do like some kind of trilogy where I guess Daisy Ridley is going to jumpstart things off with Rey again. It's like, has anything that they've done in this series going to make anyone want to watch? They're going to spend, like, keep in mind here, they're going to spend anywhere from $250 to $300 million on the next Star Wars movie that gets released in theaters. So they're setting themselves up to lose at this point $500 million.
Well, like, and sort of going back to my point about Marvel, Star Wars is on that same precipice of Iger and Kennedy and everybody and Filoni went, all right, we got to be better about this. So we're going to curate, we're going to write, we're going to put effort. And this is the first thing that comes out after that revamp. Most people are probably not going to do, take that second to think like, oh, the Acolyte was in production long before this, They're going to go, they made that promise. They gave us this. There's nothing here. They got nothing. Mm-hmm. The man behind the curtain has been exposed, and we know not to show up anymore. And like, I cannot see a point where from here, anything for Star Wars goes well. Maybe that Mandalorian movie, just because normies love the Mandalorian, even like I know people who don't watch Star Wars or know Star Wars and they love Mando. So maybe that makes like a tiny, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 level profit, but that'll be it. After that, good luck, because this is what you guys are giving us now. When left to your own devices, when given full free reign, again, this is the High Republic era. They can technically do anything they want. They're not bound by like events that have happened prior. They just go, what's interesting? Lesbian space witches and lesbian space witch kids bickering. Can I have your Disney Plus money now, please? Like it's. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for.
I hope you guys are really excited about this new movie that we have coming out in a couple of years, based on what we did with the Disney Plus series. I hope we spent the last few years drumming up all this excitement, and it's like now I'm thinking to myself too. It's like, dude, 6 years ago we were complaining about The Last Jedi and then the fallout from Solo. The Gina Carano thing hadn't happened yet. Yeah. This Abomination hadn't happened yet. The Obi-Wan Kenobi
Rise of Skywalker hadn't happened yet.
Rise of Skywalker hadn't happened yet. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show hadn't happened yet. Like, there were so many disasters that's gotten us to this point that wasn't even considered, and everyone could tell the wheels were falling off then.
And that is like everybody has seen. I think that is sort of the takeaway or where we're at. Everybody has seen the wheels fall off. Everybody knows the wheels are off. It's just about how far is Disney going to keep driving this car and burning down the axles and screwing up all the alignment until they realize, oh, we don't have 3 tires anymore. Like they are just absolutely they're diluted. Like they're running on like their own. I don't even know what they're running on. Just delusion, Leslie, straight up delusion.
If Leslie's right, then it means a furry is coming next episode.
We get a furry and all their pronouns in the Acolyte episode 4. I wouldn't be surprised because, yeah, if you guys remember last week, part of it was either Alan or Chris, one of them said, get ready for pronouns in Star Wars. And a lot of people presumed that it was going to be in this 3rd episode, but it looks like it's going to be in next week's episode. So it just seems like we're going downhill and downhill and downhill and downhill and downhill with every release of the series. So at this point, I'm along for the ride. Like I am more excited for the Acolyte than I've been for a Star Wars project in years, but for the wrong reasons. Every Tuesday, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. What are you guys? How are you going to step in it this time? It is like, look, I'm a fan of the Chicago Bears. I know what it's like to watch something that is taking the field to fail like that. Mm-hmm. And so I know what I'm looking at, and I'm just like, bring it on, Bring it
Well,
on,
Jacob's a
Headland.
Raiders fan, so he knows what it's like too.
At least they got like that new stadium and stuff down in Vegas.
They got that new stadium to make up for the fact they haven't won a playoff game in 22 years.
It'll make up. It'll change. It'll make the difference. Because of that, they'll win. Totally.
Because of all the Vegas betting, you know that they're going to have to get the other opponent to throw a game. We know.
I just want you guys to
set.
I need you guys to understand like what's happening in 2024 right now. As of this very moment, Detroit Lions fans have more hope than Star Wars fans in 2024.
Cleveland Browns have more hope. Fans have more hope than Star Wars fans do in 2024.
XFL fans have more hope than like Star Wars fans.
All I can think to myself is that soundbite is like, what have they done to us?
What have they done to us? The Tim Robinson one. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's 100% what it is. Yeah. Did you still have that bit up? Oh, you didn't have it up. But just like Cider highlighted, just to sort of a cherry on top of all this. Yes, you guys did read that right. Leslie Headland did go out of her way to hire a writer for the Acolyte who knows nothing about Star Wars. Actively, like, according to her like recollection of how she got hired, Headland went up to her or talked to her and said, "What do you know about Star Wars?" And this writer said something along the lines of, "Han Solo hangs out with a big dog, right?" And Headland went, "You're hired," because that gives you a fresh perspective on the franchise. And it's like, no, it doesn't. What that does is you're not getting if you want a fresh perspective on something, maybe you get somebody who is a fan of like Star Trek or something related. You don't get somebody who has no idea what they're looking at, because they're going to come in and go, "I don't know Star Wars. I don't know sci-fi. I don't know action adventure. What I do know are one-woman monologue plays about the struggle of being a woman in Portland." That's what I'm going to draw my writing upon. It's in the DNA. It's baked in there. It's just, I think literally what else is there left to say about this thing except like all I can do is laugh. That's the only reaction I have left to the Acolyte. There's nothing here for anybody except us, except for your lovely content creators around the sphere, your Criticals, your Nerdrotics, your Ciders, your Jacobs, your Nerdigans. Like we get paid off of this, but I don't know what any benefit anybody else is getting.
I don't even know if another season of Star Wars Visions could save the franchise now.
No, well, okay, I don't. Okay, you weren't on the show, Nerdigans. I brought this up the other week on the That Park Place live stream when I was hanging out with Jonas and Lou. I don't know if you remember this, Nerdigans, but Star Wars Visions first season comes out. How did they advertise that? What was it supposed to be? This is an anthology, a Star Wars anthology done by Japanese anime creators. You know them. They are talented. This is popular right now. Let's get them like in on this. Season 2 actually has been announced. Do you know what it is, Nerdigans?
What?
Instead of all anime, now it's 9 different segments from animators from across the globe, including Scotland and Chile and Kenya. And it's like, so
that was not the purpose.
That was the point. That was the point, was anime Star Wars. And whether through the inherent like anti-Japanese racism that all Western entertainment media seems to have, or through your just like sheer incompetence, you just like
someone's mic cracking there.
Yeah, like
it's probably mine. It's probably mine. My microphone just broke a little bit. Let me see that.
Well, yeah, and again, to Spencer's point, he's right, and wow, yeah,
I was trying to tighten it, and then it like the entire rig fell apart. So before next week, I have to get like a new handle.
Yeah, wow,
that sucks.
Time for eBay.
Yeah, I guess you're gonna have to hold it. I don't know. But, yeah, like you're like a racing.
In this corner, we have.
Yeah. Sound like the guy at the DJ.
From Virginia University, 6'6", number 12.
But like, that's the thing that bugs me. Is like Disney just should have. If you want to have creators from like across the world do segments, then have something else. You defeat the purpose of what Star Wars was supposed to be.
Well, like, and that to me, it's like I don't know if it's like that racism or if it's the we can't, people liked the anime, but we can't give any credit to anime or else we'll have to start changing our industry. Like they again, or does it link back to what Cider was saying, right? Like the homogeneity of Japan is a big sticking point for neoliberals. They hate it, and they hate it specifically because it is the best example of how, like, when we look at like Japan, I know everybody here goes like, it's insane how like polite they are, how clean they can be, how like people can pass out drunk in like Japan, like blitzed out of their mind, pass out on the ground. All of their stuff will still be there in the morning. They might even have a blanket or like a pillow. Like, people care about them. And a lot of that has to do with the homogenous culture and the homogenous society. The fact that it's working for them, nobody can stand it, or neoliberals can't stand it because it's not diverse or multicultural enough. So they don't want to give attention to Japan, whether it's, and again, it's just this weird inherent 7 different layers of on top of each other racism. And yeah, so no, there is no real hope there for Visions Nerdigans. And I know Leslie brought it up. Filoni's got another animated series coming out, and it's like, who at this point, who genuinely cares outside of the actual paid shills? At this point, I don't even know if Star Wars has any like fans. I don't think anybody who says a positive thing about it is not paid. Like,
well,
that's
like
just
I said,
how abysmal we've got.
Looking from a monetary perspective, once again, like I said, The Force Awakens came out. There was massive anticipation for another Star Wars movie, so it made a bunch of money. Last Jedi came out, laid an egg. It ended up making nearly half of what the Force Awakens did, and then the Rise of the Skywalker did even less than that. So now there's been essentially let's say 5-year gap between that movie and where we are right now. There hasn't been any movies since that time period. So there's been a bunch of Disney Plus exclusives, but no actual movies. So now we're gonna like. Is there any real anticipation for a new Star Wars film at this point in time? Is anyone really looking forward to another movie? I think they've done everything they've possibly can to kill anyone's interest in a film. And look, they're going to try to release, a new trailer with Rey sometime in, the next like year or two. And they think that's going to get everyone back on board. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, another Star Wars movie. It's like, you've burned your bridge like so thoroughly. I think I said, about a couple weeks ago, if they were to fix things right now and blow it up, it would probably take them 10 years to recover. At this point, especially with this episode, I think you're at 20 years now. That's how bad you screwed this pooch.
And it's like, it's not even to really, like, I agree with you. And it's like, it's not even 20 years of like, you can recover while you're actively working on it. It's like, you guys need to shelve it for 20 years. Like, this isn't something that can be slowly rehabilitated. You need to full on like reboot this like thing from the like ground up. Go back to, here is episodes 3, episodes 4, 5, 6, maybe that Clone Wars cartoon, and let's go. Like, it's beyond repair right now. It is beyond repair. The way I see it, like when you ask for, is anybody hyped for a new Star Wars movie? Think about like when you see an ad for like a Coca-Cola or a McDonald's burger, something very basic and mundane. You go, oh, okay, McDonald's has like a deal. All right, maybe someday I'll go grab one, but I'm not going to go out of my way to grab it. If I'm in the area, maybe that'll be a lunch option, but it's McDonald's. Like, I know what it is.
It's basically hearing that like the McRib is back. It's like,
right.
Okay.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Sweet. There are rabid people who go, I follow the McRib status update on Twitter all the time. I'm so ready. But that's like one guy out of like every 100,000.
Yeah, you're only going to get
nobody.
They'll play the crying Star Wars guy and make it seem like that. Oh, we're totally back. It's all back in the fandom, guys. And it's like, no, like you're done. Like, in all honesty, after everything that we talked about tonight, they've killed Star Wars. I think the MCU is pretty close to suffering the same fate at this point, just due to sheer incompetence. It's like anything Disney touches literally just rots away and dies.
At this point, I genuinely. I believe we have a mission.
We get to blow something up.
I was going to bring this up real fast.
Let Nerdigans talk first.
What Cider and I were talking about this earlier is what's interesting is while Disney's brands are dying, Warner Brothers is revitalizing their brands. like we're seeing it with in a way with
They're
they're trying to with Warner Brothers Japan is doing, they're embracing Warner Brothers Japan, and Scooby-Doo is with the Go-Go Scooby-Doo.
And to be fair, Warner Brothers is in a transition period because I mean, like I said, they're very much blowing everything up over there at Warner. I mean, they're still trying to angle for a deal to keep the NBA, but they're probably going to lose the NBA after next season as well. So I mean, they're blowing up a lot of the big brands.
Yeah,
over
that
there
deal, they are about to lose that deal, and that is going to hurt them so bad. Obviously, we won't go into it because that's sports talk, but like you and I know, like it's bad. They're screwing up.
But the other thing, though, I do want to point out that I talked with Cider about earlier is that you got Paramount is putting out like new properties. They're focusing on new content, and then Disney, compared to them, is just stagnant. They're stuck. Even Netflix is putting out new stuff, and Disney's just stagnant and putting out like reboots, sequels, and then crap Star Wars content. And
well, that is what you are seeing there, Nerdigans, is even though everybody's in like a low point right now, Disney that's the hubris of being at the top for so long. Disney thought they were untouchable, so that's why they got into that fight with DeSantis. They thought, we're Disney. We can't be touched. We can do this. And now they are getting hit from all sides, but because they were on top these last like 4 decades, they have no idea how to navigate a defeat or a losing battle. And so
Netflix was too.
Doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down and down and down and down and down. So much quadrupling that if you took all of the energy that was used to quadruple it up, you would have enough energy to fire the laser. Cider, I believe we're ready.
Shamu laser engage.
Honestly, I wish that would just be like Disney Studios at this point. Like
technically,
honestly, it could be all of Hollywood at this point.
Yeah, exactly. The explosion is big enough, but it does need to be bigger. What, Nerdigans?
We just need to blow up the activists at this point.
I mean, the activists, but also like Veritas has been bringing this up. And hey, shout out Veritas. I know you showed up a little late, but like, think about all of the people at the top here. Not even like the decision makers. We're talking like the execs and the studio heads. We know what they do.
Yeah, but blaming the activists isn't, really solving the problem. Because at the end of the day,
the activists, though.
That's the problem, though. That means that you need to completely like clean house. Like I said, one day somebody needs to walk into Disney like Ari Gold when you have that paintball gun and just fire everyone in sight. Like that's the only way you're going to ever clean up like what happened.
Like if you get tagged, like we have pink paintballs, and if you get tagged, that's your pink slip, and just go bam, or they're like one of the paint grenades that just like explodes all over the office at this point. Because we are in a dire state, and the Acolyte is pretty much just proof of where we are. But with that, I think we're closing in on the end of the show here. Does anybody have anything else they want to specifically talk about? Nerdigans, Jacob, Cider, any topics we might have missed? Anything you want to bring up?
Yep. Just this one last little thing.
Let's hit it.
Here.
Let's hit it.
We have the if you're a park member at Disney, you can now lick a butthole. Oh wait, that's a tire. Sorry, that's a tire, not a butthole.
That's gross.
It's an awful lot like a chocolate glazed butthole. It's even got a little.
It's even got a little glaze, if you will.
Little mayonnaise spread around the edge there, but yeah. So if you're looking for a chili glory hole, Disney got you covered if you are a park member. Remember,
I'm surprised you don't want to talk about Overwatch, Spencer.
The Overwatch Sentai stuff is cool, but at this point, like anything that comes out of Blizzard, I'm just like, it's kind of like I feel like with Disney Star Wars, I'm just like, you guys suck, and everything is going to suck.
Sucked, guys. Like
the
I don't
Bebop
have any
thing sucked
for this Sentai thing.
But you know what? Someone I've been seeing a lot from Blizzard fans is they're like, dude, just whoever's doing the Blizzard trailers, just get the cinematic people out of there and just have them make an anime or make some.
I mean, that's something that's always been talked about with Blizzard. For all their faults, their like cinematic departments have always been really, really on point. Like the Diablo cinematics, the WoW cinematics, the Overwatch cinematics, even like those are all exciting. I've always been a proponent that them not making a Overwatch animated series of some kind when that came out, but just by using the models, they completely missed it. That would have been an amazing opportunity for them to get lots and lots of money and lots of goodwill, to the point where, I mean, the Blitzchung stuff probably still would have sunk them, but at least I would have one more compliment for him right now. But yeah, I think with the that chocolate butthole. Oh, just because you brought up the chocolate butthole and it's Disneyland related, quick weird thing that I learned: Tiana's Bayou, the new Splash Mountain ride, which is basically just like we've all seen last week. We all saw its debut. It's really lame. It's bad, but it's also a very safe ride. Like, there's not a lot to it, but apparently it's like an e-ticket thrill ride at the park, which, for those who don't know, basically means like it's super limited to get in, and you have to reserve your spots like hours in advance. And I'm just like, why did you classify it like that? Classify it like the rest of the baby like rides. Like, I don't know. Weird. Just Tiana's Bayou, disaster. Disney, you got no idea what you're doing up there. You're falling apart, and we're all kicking back and watching the show. I think that's all any of us can really do right now. But speaking of watching shows, you all just watched one. That is where I think we will call it for tonight's episode of the 01 stream here at Bounding Into Comics. As always, I want to thank every single one of you guys who showed up, from Leslie to DZ, Hey, it's being in HD, Veritas, Banana, to Hillam. Andrew was here for a little bit. Just everybody I'm forgetting, because I know I'm forgetting people. If it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to come here, hang out every Wednesday, have some fun, have some laughs. And I know that it is a highlight of everybody's week here. So thank you for giving us that opportunity to entertain you for a little while. As always, before we officially get out of here, we will go around the horn. Everybody can let you know what they've got going on, where you can find them, where you can give them some likes. Starting with, of course, Jacob.
Yeah, I posted a video today about the film that I saw, the TV Glow, which is the worst effing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I wouldn't even qualify it as a movie. That's how bad it is.
Wait, does it beat Babes?
So far?
Does it beat Babes?
It beat Babes. Yeah.
Whoa, okay, I gotta read this review. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's on the YouTube. Go check it out on your own time. We're in trouble. We're in trouble in 2024. But outside of that, like I said, go check out our Barroom podcast. We did that one last night, just in case you guys missed that one. Had a very interesting run-in with a guy I guess was an enemy of mine for 3 years, and I didn't even realize until last night. So that was a funny little discovery there. Outside of that, Bibleins podcast. So obviously doing a new episode on this coming Sunday. If you have not checked out the last episode that we did last week, go check that out, because a lot of people have questions about this whole LGBTQ movement and don't even know the true origins behind it. I even found out some stuff about the whole origin of it that completely blew my mind. A lot of people have been talking about it, so go check that out. Sundays at 7 p.m. and then we'll got another Barroom coming up next week. In between there, I have a couple of movie reviews. I got a lot of reviews that I need to catch up on, so it'll definitely be a catch-up weekend for movies. So got some things coming up, and hopefully we'll have some we'll have a little bit of fun in between there. So that's what I got.
Always having a little bit of fun. Yes, that episode was insanely thought-provoking. I watched it in the VOD afterwards, so go check it out. Go check out his entire Pride series. Also, speaking of the fun that's in between, I know that you've been hanging out on our good friend MSK's streams on Saturdays lately, right?
Yeah.
I guess we're trying to fundraise him a bed or something.
So on Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays, I've been hanging out with those guys. And like I said, we've just been roasting his absolute lack of ambiance in his room. So we're literally trying to bully him into buying a bed from Goodwill, because his room is just sad to look at. So hopefully our bullying efforts will continue until he actually fills up his room. So,
but yeah, you can catch when Jacob goes live and all that by following him on Twitter, catches YouTube, all that fun stuff. Honestly, Jacob's the best follow. So go give him that on every platform. Of course, then we have Nerdigans. What you got going on, my friend?
Besides my cat meowing at me, I don't know what he wants. But besides that, you can catch me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga every day. You can follow me on Twitter right there, where apparently I'm getting into more shenanigans as psycho activists call me a pick-me. I don't know. Quiet cat. I'm also working on a couple of articles for Bounding. I'm working on the Cells at Work live action adaptation. I just got to get the summaries for the like one sentence summaries for the Cells at Work spinoffs for covering which ones parts of the body they cover cover. And then I'm gonna do like an anticipated top 10 anticipated summer anime list, because summer anime is coming. I gotta run it by you, Spencer, because Gachi Akuda's anime got announced like while we were live. So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, so we do have like a announcement trailer, studio, and author comments. So so we might do an article on that as well. We are on Society Review or Barroom Podcast, Jacob's podcast every Tuesday, and obviously we're here to every Wednesday. So make sure you stay tuned.
All right. And then quick question for you, Nerdigans. We had a request from the chat. Do you have any interest in doing a review, or will you be doing a review for Suicide Squad Isekai when it comes out?
You want me to do it for Bounding or just in general? Because in general, what I'm thinking of is, because I have to avoid copyright on YouTube because it's an anime original. And what I might do is I might do something for Patreon where I can actually have the video up and do like a straight up live reaction with the video. So that's what I'm leaning towards doing. But I have to get everything set up. Cool. I've been rebuilding my Patreon because it's been like
because you're finally getting attention now. Our big girl now, our big girl reporter on the street. But yeah, if you want to do something for Bounding Nerdigans, we can obviously do it. But yeah, the people want your thoughts on anime. That's you've carved out your niche. Now deliver. All right, and then Cider, of course, the man I can always count on. What have you got for us?
No,
sounds about right.
Yeah, right. No, over on the channel we actually have a interview with M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Ishana, and she's discussing her new horror film, The Watchers. It's set in Ireland. Some freaky deaky stuff's going out there, and true M. Shyamalan. I don't know if her name's M, but anyway, Ali Hanley of the Bounding into Comics movie review / movie correspondence team had the opportunity to sit down and discuss with her. Feel free to check it out over on the channel. It's 4 minutes long, so you don't have to worry about getting drowned in it, but you do learn a little bit about what led to it. And also, as Jacob said, he's got the review for I Saw the TV Glow. The one thing that stood out to me is that Limp Bizkit is in this. Yeah. So that
Freddie D is in this terrible movie.
Yeah, Fred Durst, okay? Like, of all the places you thought you'd find Fred Durst, it wasn't with this Justice Smith kid, okay? I have a lot of questions for Fred. But that alone is worth tuning into Jacob's review on it. And of course, yesterday we talked about the Assassin's Creed Ancient mixtape for tokenized O.R.C.A. So feel free to tune in for that and let us know what your comments are on just how racist is it?
Freaking mixtape. Oh man, it genuinely makes me laugh so hard. All right, that's what Cider's got going on. Yeah, as always, subscribe here too. We got Cider dropping stuff all the time. He's killing it with the video stuff. Pure recommendation to all of our stuff. As always, I know I'm speaking from a place of bias, but still. As for me, again, I want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast. If you want to see more of us, you can always check out the site boundingintocomics.com every day, where we've got news articles going up. Obviously, the big one that's floating around right now is the recap of the Acolyte. So if you want to go either get the recap in text, or you want to go argue, or not argue, but what's the right word? Commune with other Star Wars fans mocking the death of the franchise, you can do it there in the comment section. As always, check out our YouTube every day for content from Cider, from Ali, from Jacob, from anybody who's coming down the pipe on the team. Always, again, subscribe to everybody here, Jacob, Cider, Nerdigans, on their own channels. As for me, if you want to see more of me, you can catch me over here on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. If you want to see more of me live before next week's show, you can catch me over on my own channel, Studio Kabuto, where every Friday at 5 p.m. I host the live stream, The Good, the Mad, the Ugly, where I hang out with you guys. We talk about all the stuff we love talking about. We get deep dives into it, all that fun stuff. So if that's up your alley, come on and hang out with me. As always, next week, you can catch us same bat time, same bat channel for another episode of 01, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Bounding Into Comics YouTube channel. And yeah, as far as that, I think that's all we've got going on. Bounding's growing. We're changing every day. Always be on the lookout. Forward, onward, upward, all that fun stuff. I think that's all. We should probably end the stream before I turn into a decoration on a white girl's college dorm.
Gonna ride into the night with a fire that burns so bright. Speed of light and a heart so strong. Chasing dreams where I belong. Thunder in the midnight air. Wings of steel, we're almost there. Racing towards the stars that glow. To the only place I know. Sky Rider Deluxe. Flying high with the stars above. Sky Rider Deluxe. Feel the power, feel the love. No fear, no turning back. On this endless hero's track.